Blog Talk Radio.
Yes. Chaverim, Chag Sameach. I know, here. Shabua long, strong, long celebration, feast, festival, Succoth, Chag Sameach, Chag feast, festival, Sameach, happy, joyful. Remember to rejoice for these 7 days. This is a commandment. Can you keep up the joy? Keep up the joy right here. Here we're on the second day of the usual Shabuah, but still in the holy season, reason for the season here. We're at day 5. Day 5, Rastafari Succoth. All right, we the Royal Order Ethiopian Hebrews here. Day 5 of Tabernacles. Here, this is one of the Chol, haMo'ed, haMo'ed. This is one of the intermediate days of the feast and the festival. So it's not a Shabbat day, so, we can do and should do other kind of works, while we remember like the first and the last to be set apart. So the first day, of Chag HaSukkot is a Shabbat, a day of no work, of Mikra Kodesh, Sha'ila, alcohol, gathering together. And then we come to the 8th day. So here we're at day 5. But still, the reason for the season, do remember, it's a holy season, a set-apart season. Here, let's rise up the chant.
Yeah! Holiday! Going to the one song, Molly. Holiday! Let's go! Holiday! Sugar! Holiday! A break from separation. You find a way to cope when your belly full of hope, on the brink of your salvation. Holiday from police intimidation. Love them not the danger, protect them from the danger. The world needs renovation. Saddam's throat cut off, and the oil price take off. The last thing goes off, and the youth them no laugh, and old them drop off. And cash plus lock up, and the biggest mark 11 day a walk. The little island full of bass, when I pay the stop, and World War kick off, and more life a loss. We make more price a cost, we make more rifle blast. From to the 40 acre and jackass. Holiday, a break from separation. You find a way to cope, and your belly full of hope, on the brink of their salvation. Holiday, some joy and celebration. I wanna bless my neighbors above the morning to your greetings and salutations. Don't miss a love on 93 where we need up on the street. Belly empty and the youth them tolerance a reach a peak. Run up and bullies fi bus and they can find no food to eat. Baby mother they are yard and water soap in wash it. So them light up the machine them and them put them on repeat. Those without will have to get up and go look it on the street. On a conquering lion when I come here so they get defeat. Give them a break. Holiday, a break from separation. You find a way to cope, and your belly full of hope, on the brink of your salvation. Holiday from police intimidation. Love them not the manger, we save them from the danger. The world needs renovation. I tell you, I know and I believe it. One day we'll surely make it. Have faith, I and I, redeemers have come. I tell you, I know and I believe it, yeah. One day we'll surely make it, yeah. Have faith, I and I, redeemers have come. Holiday, a break from separation. You find a way to cope, and your belly full of hope, on the brink of your salvation. Holiday, from police intimidation. Love them not the manger, protect them from the danger. The world needs renovation. Holiday, a break years and years and generations upon generations. Some joy and celebration. Experiencing nothing but suffering. I wanna bless my neighbors above the morning to greetings and salutations. Give a break.
The Elilta, the ancient hallelujah, hallelujah, Elilu, 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 the Elilta Yah, or as you might know. And joyful shout.
Study to show thyself approved. Study to show thyself approved. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. 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 Word of truth.
So here, intermediate days of the feast, the festival, give I and I some time to come together and study. Study up right here. Here we do have a couple of readings here, mainly in the Torah reading, fire key offering. Remember the offering, the fire offerings go through the fullness of the feast. Every day is a fire offering, but the first day and the eighth day, even though it's 7 days, there's the eighth day assembly. These are considered to be as Shabbats, right? As a Shabbaton, as a rest day, right? For all of I and I to come together. But those here on the ear and the iris, come, as 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15 says,
study to show thyself approved. Study to show thyself approved. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Word of truth. Word of truth. Word of truth.
Study to show I and I self approved to Elohim. It says to prove all things. So right here. Let's study. Once again, double eyes. Let's review.
Chapter 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their season. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. In the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. And he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the 4th part of an hin. And ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days. And ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Lord. And ye shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, even an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord. Then ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. And ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest, neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. The 9th day of the month at even, from even unto even, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. On the first day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering, and a meat offering, a sacrifice, and drink offerings, everything upon his day. Beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings which ye give unto the Lord. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feasts of the Lord.
Here, Leviticus chapter 23. Fulfilling the 7 feasts, 7 festivals, right here at the 7 of the 7 feast festivals, the Feast of Tabernacles. And here's a tune, favored by the Chaverim, right here, Chaverim. Tell me who is Jah Tabernacle, Yah Tabernacle, here, culture.
Jah Tabernacle, way over. All of Mount Zion, Jah Tabernacle, Jah Tabernacle. Oh, all of Mount Zion, tell me who Jah shall abide in thy tabernacle. Tell it to me, tell me who Jah shall abide in thy tabernacle. It's only them that have love. Tell me who Jah shall dwell in thy tabernacle. Where his majesty lives. Tell me who Jah shall abide in thy tabernacle. Only them that have love. It's only them that do the work of his infinite majesty. I shall send them in the road of his Zion. It's only them and those who walk it in the road of righteousness and speak at the truth within their heart. Shall enter in the whole of tabernacle of Joshua. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Tell me who Jah shall abide in thy tabernacle. Oh, tell it to me. Tell me who Jah shall abide in thy tabernacle. Only them that have love. It's only them that willing to do the work of Jah shall go to Mount Zion and live. Only them that know the name of his majesty and accept it to our shall live. It's only them who care for the people and love the people and love the world. It's only them shall enter in the tabernacle full of Mount Zion. Yeah, that's why I often joy for the things that we need, the things that we need, the things that we need in life, the things that we need in life to make a man feel comfortable. Tell me who Jah shall abide in thy tabernacle. Only them who love him. Tell me who Jah shall abide in thy tabernacle. Tell it to me. I have something with expression for the whole wide world to listen to now. Oh, Jah, help me. I'm willing for your hand. I want you felt joy. I need a little thing. Food, clothes, and shelter, and health and strength. Love and liberty, and love and liberty all over the land. For the people, Jah people, bo. Tell me who Jah shall abide in thy tabernacle. Children, no respect and shepherd.
And David my servant shall be king over them. They all shall have one shepherd.
It is good that you are here to record this picture of me in my palace garden at Addis Ababa. People who see this throughout the world will realize that even in the 20th century, with faith, courage, and a just cause, David will still beat Goliath.
And David my servant shall be king over them. And they all shall have one shepherd, 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 one chapter.
Yes. I had to emphasize that right there. The shepherd. One of the reasons for the season, it's interesting when we talk about booths. Before we ride up this next tune, we're going to share the Levite. It says, don't forget the Levite, right? In the holy season. So Barrington Levi right here on deck with lose respect. I respect the shepherd. But here for day 5, just a reason here. So happy Sukkot, Chag, feast, Succoth of the Tabernacles, Sameach. Chag, Succoth, Sameach. And also the Simchat Torah, the joy of the Torah here, Tabernacle season, Gregorian calendar 2024 right here. Right, so the holy days. Now, this Shabbat, this week's the Torah portion, reading and feedings, during the feasts and the festivals, the regular cycle of Torah reading and feeding is suspended for the holy days, and here particularly for Yahweh's feast, the Feast of Tabernacles, for the Shabbat, for the week, for the strong, 7-day long Feast of Tabernacles, first and the 8th day, the holy day, the Shabbat day. These are the days mainly for, what one can say, according to Torah, no work. But the intermediate days, one may work, but there's still a fire offering for each of those days. So the Torah reading cycle, here we're at the 54th coming up. V'zot Haberakhah, and this is the blessing, the final reading and feeding within this semester. F'nai Rastafari, Beta Israel Yeshiva, I studies comes the 54th. Here, sealing up the year right here. And we say the year, that might confuse certain ones. We touched on this before. We'll touch on it again. But I think some of the Habarim understand what we mean by the end of the year, because the scripture says the ingathering at the end of the year. So the Feast of Tabernacles is also known as the Feast of Ingathering. So the ingathering of the crops here at the end of the year, the particular cycle here in the 7 months, the 7 moons. So from Yahweh's perspective, right? You see, other people say, well, it can't be the new year right here because, the new year, even Hebraically, is like the March, April time, the month of Abib. Now, the Torah says that this shall be the beginning of moons, Rosh Chodashim, the beginning of moons, the head of the moons, the head of the months, the head of the moons. But it's also clear when we come to this 7th month, comes the Feast of Tabernacles, is also the ingathering of the crops of the land at the end of the year. So here is a time that we call in season, with the feast, the festivals, the appointments. Leviticus, earlier we shared Leviticus chapter 23. chapter 23. And when you go through Leviticus chapter 23, it begins from the first, or the head of the moons, the head of the renewed, speaking about the new months, the new moons, the Rosh Chodashim, in the month of Abib, in the spring, what they call the springtime, the March, roughly, approximately, Gregorian-wise, the March, April time. Then pushing through, right, when you're reading Leviticus chapter 23, once it settles the Shabbat, the weekly Shabbat, as well as the feast and the festival Shabbats. In other words, the weekly Shabbat, always on that seventh day. And then there is the Shabbat, or that is the no servile work, occupational labor, right, to say a Shabbaton of the feasts and the festivals. So reading Leviticus chapter 23 takes us approximately from the first of the Chodashim, the first of the moons, or the Chodeshes, right, in the March, April time, all the way through here to the 7th, right? Then we get to the 7th, we have Yom Teruah, the Day of Trumpets, also known as Rosh Hashanah, Hoshana Rabba, Chaverim. Then we also have 10 days, the Yom HaKippurim, called the Yom Kippur, or Yom HaKippurim more fully, Torah-wise, the Day of the Atonements, the coverings. On the 10th day, then 5 days after that, we have the Feast of Ingathering, booths, huts. One of the words of reminder within Leviticus chapter 23, hold on right here, we don't have the screen on just yet. You know, we're going to share some of the verses, you know, here in the background. So ones and ones looking at the podcast is coming forward. But since it's just a reasoning, you know, right here, it's a brief reasoning just to go over this, study to show ourselves approved right here. It says this here in Leviticus chapter 23 at verse, let's say 41. Let's go from verse 41. And it says, and y'all shall keep it a feast to, not un means not, but to the Lord, or to Yahweh, 7 days in the year in the Shana. A statute, right? A hukah, forever in your generations. Y'all shall celebrate it in the 7th month, in the 7th moon. In the 7th month, the 7th moon. I'd like to touch on this a little bit more right here, and want to show ones on the screen what we are, you know, pointing to here. Because this, now we're in the intermediate days, so we can spend a little more time kind of going over some of the details that on the particular days and the gathering, we try to share, you know, what is the appointed reading and feeding, so forth and so on. But here we have some time to go, why nafash? Nafash, we to rest or to take a breath. But right here, Barrington Levi right here, don't forget the Levi right here, and lose respect, right? You know, we're not to lose respect, lose reverence, you know, because the reverence of Yahweh is the beginning, right, of wise mind and understanding. Here, Levi.
I want to be free. Bible and read up your Bible, and you will get sensible. Sing it said that, and you will get sensible. Man, he said you lose respect, you lose respect, you lose respect unto Jah. Him a go strike you with the lightning and thunder. Man, him a go strike you with the lightning and thunder. Me said you lose respect, you lose respect, you lose respect, you even make God beg. You lose respect, you lose respect. Yeah, the Lord God so loved the world that He gave unto I and I Son, and whosoever believe in this Son shall live it unto I and I, and shall never burn like a piece of paper and melt like the wax that melt in the presence of the fire. Said you lose respect, you lose respect, you lose respect unto Jah. So you lose respect, you lose respect, you lose respect unto Jah. Him a go strike you with the lightning and yonder. Man, him a go strike you with the lightning and yonder. Me say fi stop from idle and read up your Bible. Stop from idle and read up your Bible, and you will get sensible. Yeah, and I come back right to the main point. Every man got to get paid according to the work they do. I would say, me say them lose respect, them lose respect, them even make that sick. Still you, like me say them lose respect, them lose respect. But the lightning I go on them, Lord, and then the thunder I go frighten them. Lord, me say the thunder I go frighten them. Lord, because them lose respect, them lose respect. Them lose respect, them lose respect. They stop from idle and read up your Bible.
I want to say shalom. Right now we're in Jerusalem with a very well-known man, the rapper Shine, also known as Moshe Levy, and I'm just going to ask him a couple of questions. He's been in Baal Teshuva now for 7 years, right?
Baal Teshuva for 12 years.
12.
Shomer Shabbos and really observing Orthodox about 7 years.
7 years. And what inspired you to come closer to God? Anything happen?
I mean, I grew up an Israelite life, the same way Moses, Yaakov, all of our forefathers, had the most difficult lives. Yaakov had to be a slave for Lebanon. His own brother tried to kill him. They raped his daughter. His youngest son, his favorite son, sold in slavery. It's just always difficult for Israel. Moses, gave up being the Pharaoh to defend a Hebrew that was being taken advantage of and led the small nation against the biggest nation in the world. So that's what a Yid goes through. So me being a Yid, having a Yiddishkeit soul, whenever I went through difficulties, it was never to take drugs or, it was never to take it out on other people. It was to turn to Hashem. That's what a Yid does. He has to cry to Hashem. That's what they say in the time of Mashiach. You have to cry. The Israelites will cry to Hashem. So for me, that's what happened for me. I was going through people dying left and right, eating bread and sugar. That's how we ate, because we didn't have anything to eat, being the bastard child, David they thought he was a mamzer. David, his brothers used to sit in a different table and wouldn't sit with David HaMo'ed. David HaMo'ed, from where the Mashiach comes. And one day his mother saw that and started to cry. He told his mom, he said, don't worry about it. You see, so for me, my entire life, I grew up going through the most difficult circumstances, and the only thing I ever felt could allow me to escape that was a divine force. You dig? And being a dude with a half a brain, the only thing that ever made sense to me, you look at any other, science, it all goes back to Judaism. They say Abraham is the father of all religions. So for me, I don't want to talk to the middleman. I want to talk to Hashem. I want to go straight to the boss. And that's what, Israel has the luxury of doing. So for me, all the difficulties I went through was always, man, listen, please, help me, divine force, help me. My grandmother used to put me on the game and spit in my ear. Listen, what you're going through is nothing. Moses went through worse. What you're going through is nothing. David Hamelech went through worse. You know, read this, read that. And when you read the stories, you know, they don't register. You're like, man, he really went through that? Nah, that's something I'm reading the book. But they really went through that. Because I really went through everything that Amisrael has gone through. It's documented in history. And Hashem has always delivered. You know, that bread and sugar, man, it tasted like, you know, 5-star meal. You did. The same way we sing, you know, for the third meal and sing during Shabbos, that's what Hashem used to give us. He gave us simcha, despite things being difficult and challenging. Because I know people that got $1 billion and they don't have the happiness that poor people who are filled with the spirit of the Shekinah have. You know, so again, for me, you know, I knew Torah without knowing Torah. You did. It's like the same way Yaakov and Abraham, you know, they knew Torah. Abraham, his parents were idol worshippers. He grew up around nothing but idol worshippers, and he knew the Torah. Before it was given on the scroll. So it's the same thing with me, man. You know, I always knew Hashem, and I always applied those ethics. So when I was going through difficulties, when I was going through challenges, I knew the only way out was having a relationship with the Most High.
Would you say there's one particular event that really, you know, pushed you forward to do this whole thing? To come closer to God?
I mean, you know, again, my entire life was difficult. I would say the real turning point, you know, in that relationship, because again, you know, people have to understand, being Yid, being an Israelite, being Jewish is not, you know, coming to Sabbath services or, you know, showing up for Rosh Hashanah or, you know, putting on a suit, wearing sisters or growing pays. You know, being a Jew is having a relationship with Hashem, honoring that relationship, being loyal. Like, you got a contract. Adam Harishon, you know, is a partner in the continuation of creation. That's some serious thing to register. You know, so for me, when I got shot when I was 15, that was the consummation of my relationship with Hashem. Because when you go through difficulties, you can be like some of the Rev Robin in Russia, where they want to turn against Moshe and they want to say, oh man, Hashem brought us here to die, and they give up. Or you can be like the Levites who killed their mothers, their fathers, sister, anybody who wasn't rolling with, you know, what Amisrael was supposed to be rolling with. So for me, when I got shot, it was, you know what, no problem. That's what I have to go through. Please just get me through it. You know, I was a quintessential Israelite. Always, never, you know, oh man, there was no, all right, fine, this is what it is, this is the hand I'm dealt, how are we going to play this? How you going to let me win? Fine, they stacking the deck, they're cheating, they got extra cards, please, Hashem, how are we going to do this? I know I could beat them, I know I could defeat them. So when I got shot, that's what really let me know when my life was right there in my hands and let me know that the only way I was going to be able to get through life was through divine intervention. And, you know, obviously when you get shot, you retaliate, different things happen. And the fact that I made it through that entire situation, you know, I was dealing with some serious guys, man, some Goliaths, you know, some warriors. And the fact that I defeated them, little old me, you know, was proof of this relationship that my grandmother had been telling me to forge. And that I've been forging myself. But talk, what is talk? You know, poetry is great, but life is better. You understand? So you got to live it in order for it to exist. So for me, I was saying, yeah, I want a relationship with Hashem. Yeah, the stuff Hashem is saying is true. Yeah, what my grandma was saying is true. But when I really went through a situation where I could have forsaken Hashem when I got shot, that's when it became real. When I said, you know what, nah, man, I got to keep going with this faith. This faith is going to get me through this. And it got me through it. You know, a year after I got shot is when I got my record deal. You know, and then I went from sleeping on my mom's couch, you know, to being a millionaire.
And, you know, Rosh Hashanah is coming up on Thursday, and we like to change anew, do teshuvah. Is there any one thing you like to do to come closer to God? One thing you want to take upon yourself?
I mean, you know, even me, you know, I have, you know, I'm from the line of David, so I'm just like, you know, my forefather, he was fired. David was fired. You know, he had that temple, they say, I had temple. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, my name, say Moshe, I had to work on that. So for me, you know, I think it's very, you have to be careful how you talk to people. Mm-hmm. Careful how you treat people. I have to be very concerned with that. You know, because the reason we kosher is because, you know, depending on how we use this instrument called our mouths, we can speak with the Shekinah. So you have to be very careful of the words that come out your mouth, because Hashem created the world with 10 utterances. So we are made in His image, so everything we say is very important. So you have to be careful of what you say to people. So that's one of the things I want to work on, what would I say to people when I say this thing.
All right, Mr. Moshe, it's a pleasure. Very happy to see you. I want to wish you the best. And Hoshana Tova.
Shabbat Hoshana Tova.
Yes. That was Moshe Levi, Moshe Levi right there, aka Shine. It's kind of interesting when you know what's going on in the news, like in the news media. he kind of walks around the whole Diddy thing. Remember, we all know what happened back in the days, right? And he's going to, one of the most orthodox sects of Yahadut, Judaism. Also it's for a reason right there. But he's spitting a lot of very interesting and very important things right there in that audible. Hopefully you heard it clear. But the thing that caught my attention was that it was around this time. It was around the Rosh Hashanah, the Rosh Hashanah time. And yeah, we'd like to go through what he's speaking there. If you do it wasn't picking up on everything right there. But here, let's pick up on what we were speaking about here for this season, right? The third of the 3 times, Shalosh Regalim. Baruch Hashem, as you saw Hashem, to say Yahweh, right? The name Hashem, HaKadosh, the Holy One, Baruch Hu, blessed be He, Baruch Hu, Baruch, blessed, He is blessed, Hu, He, blessed be He, Baruch Hu, Baruch, blessed be Hashem, blessed be the name. Yes.
Lion of Judah shall break every chain. I was born and raised in Israel. Well, it's a privilege, this I know now. Can't even think of flying away. The only place me feel like home. How can I ever walk away from me, lady? Jerusalem. How can I ever walk away from me, mama? She would never overstay. Give me the feeling that I belong, Rastafari. Give me the feeling that I belong. Well, me not ever deal you wrong, no. Give me the feeling that I belong, and can forever strong now. Give me the feeling, and I pray. Well, me say amen. Every day, well, Babylon is on me, tell that I and I prefer good. Well, me not need no more enemies, searching for a peace of mind, and I know I can't deny what happens to me when I read the Bible, and how many people overcome their trouble, and the roots of me sisters and me brothers. Just like you, I feel the pain when the children are dying, and mamas are crying. Just like you, I feel the joy when everything is easy and the sun is shining. Oh, yo. So give me the feeling that I belong, Rastafari. Give me the feeling that I belong. Well, me not ever did ya wrong, no. Give me the feeling that I belong, and just forever keep I strong now. Give me the feeling, and I pray. Well, me say amen. Just like you. Just like you. I was born and raised in Israel. Well, it's a privilege, this I know now.
Yes. So here on the Leviticus chapter 23. So here we have on the screen right here where it says here, reason for the season here when the intermediate days, the Chol, haMo'ed, the intermediate days of the feast of the festival, the days that, we can conduct our servile labor, our occupational work, between like the first and the last days, Sabbath, the Shabbaton days, the feast, no work, the holy gathering days. So here, verse 41 says, and y'all shall keep it a feast to Yahweh 7 days in the year, a statute forever in your generations. Y'all shall celebrate it in the 7th month, in the 7th moon, or rather the 7th Chodesh. Chodesh is not the word for a month, it's the word for like that which is renewed, right? The cycles of what's called the moon, right? So right here, let's break this down into the Hebrew for a moment right here, right? Just to show something. You see the word celebrate? Where it says you also celebrate it in the 7th month. Okay, the word is the H2287. All right, because it's time to study, right? Here we have Chagag, right? This is a verb, Chagag. Chagag might means to hold a feast, right? To hold a festival, also to make the pilgrimage, the 3 times in the year, right? 3 times, here's the third of the 3 times in the Shana. To keep a pilgrim feast, the Shalosh Regalim, right? Feast, celebrate, to dance, has a sense of to stagger, right? To keep a pilgrim feast, to reel, right? To move in a circle, right? To move in a circle, almost like when you're joyful, you're celebrating, move in a circle. You know what I mean? Almost like when you're at a party, you're celebrating, everybody moving around. It can also be as well to march in the sacred procession, right? Also to observe, right? Observe a festival. And you see right there by implication, to be giddy, right? To be giddy. Now, zooming on that word, right there, that word celebrate. Now, the fuller verse right here, let's see if we can split the screen right here and bring in the compare scriptures right here. Let's go down. We just went straight to the Tanakh right here. Right here it says, with chagotem, with and chagotem, right? And y'all shall celebrate Oto, right? Oto, celebrate him, celebrate it. With chagotam, Oto hag la Yahuwah shiba'ata yamin, shibat yamin, for 7, right? Shibat yamin, 7 days bashana, in the shana, in the year. Chukata olam, it's a eternal statute. Chukat olam le dorotekem, in your generations. Le, for, right? Dorotekem, for your generations. Ba chodesh, in the chodesh ha shibi'i, in the 7th ha shibi'i, the 7th chodesh. Ba chodesh, in the chodesh ba shibi'i. Ta hogu, y'all shall celebrate Oto. So celebrate him, right? Or celebrate it. Let's see if they bring it down right here. Oto, from the et, right? Sign of the direct, definite, direct object marker. Generally, it's not translated in English, but generally it's preceding and indicating like where the verb is. But here, Oto is like him or it. But here's the point right here. All right, so we get to this verse, celebrate, Chagad. As we read this chapter and we go a couple of verses up, right, still in this third of the 3 times, right, third of the 3 times, let's go right over here. We go to, okay, verse 32. Now, verse 32 is speaking about the second of the 3 appointments in the 3rd season. All right, so the 7 feasts, 7 festivals, and the 7 occur in the 3 times in the Shana. So in the beginning, the March, April time, we have 3. We have Passover, we have the 7 days of the mitzvot, or the unleavened bread, and then we have the first fruits. We count 7 Shabbat, 7 times 7 plus 150 days, the Pentecost day or the Feast of Weeks, brings us to the first harvest, right? Then we have a relatively speaking, a similar space, of time before we come to the 7th month, the 7th moon right here. Then first we have Yom Teruah. That is at Leviticus 23:23. So just for ones on the screen to see the 23:23. Right, 23, 23, 23, 24. And Yahweh spake to Moshe, saying, speak to the Bnei Yisrael, the sons of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, right, the Chodesh b'Chodesh HaShabi'i, in the first, the Echad, right, the Echad, the first, right, the first of the month or of the Chodesh, right, shall y'all have a what? A Shabbat. Actually, the Hebrew is a Shabbaton. Right, Shabbaton, right, Shabbaton. I know I saw the word myself. I was thinking about like reggaeton, like that reggaeton here we have in the Hebrew, Shabbaton. It's like a special type of a Shabbat. You see, there's 2 kinds of Shabbats according to the Torah, and we find it here in this chapter 23. We have the weekly Shabbat, right, every 7 days, the 7th day, and then there is the Shabbat or the Shabbaton, right, the Sabbath, the sabbatical observance of the feast of the festival. So it's telling us here on the first day, right, the first of the 7th month, right, will be a Shabbaton. So the translation just says Shabbat, but as we see the word right here, the H7677 is Shabbaton, right? Can refer to the weekly Sabbath, but also specifically to the Day of the Atonement, to the sabbatical year, the Shana, the sabbatical year is known as the Shabbaton. And here, as we pick up with the 3rd time, the 3rd of the 3 times in the year, the Shalosh Regalim, the pilgrim festivals, we have the Feast of Trumpets, the Shofar, the blowing of the ram's horn. And then also, Shabbaton is referring to where we're at right here with Chag, the feast, HaSukkot, the Feast of Tabernacle Booths. Here, you see the E entry says, of the first and the last days of the feast, the Chag HaSukkot, of the tabernacles, the booths, the huts. But notice this right here, right? So we just want to point this out right here just to make the connection. Let's go forward to verse 32, right? Just to point out. Remember the word celebrate. I want to bring out a point on celebrate, right? Just to show that the KJV is good, right? Especially in the fact that it's structurally connected with the Hebrew. So in the main blue letter words are the main words, not all the words, right? But are the main words, right? You see with the word celebrate, we touched on the word celebrate, right? What was the word celebrate? Anybody remember the word celebrate in verse 41? Let's go there again, right? It's time to study, right? Here it says right here, the last part of the verse, the last, we can say, phrase of the verse, y'all shall celebrate it in the 7th month, right? Here it has Chagag. Here in the Hebrew, where's the Hebrew right here, here it says Tachogu, right? Tachogu from Chagag, he celebrated, right? To celebrate. Tachogu, y'all shall celebrate, right? Oto, y'all shall celebrate it. B'chodesh HaShabi'i, Tachogu, Oto, y'all shall celebrate it. So the word Chagag, right, for celebrate, Chagag, to hold a feast, right, to hold a festival, or down here to move in a circle, specifically to march, like in a sacred, a set-apart procession, also to observe a festival. The implication, what's implied by this, is to be giddy, is to be happy. It's a feast, right? But now when we go to the second, right, of the 3 appointments here in the third time, we have this right here. Where is it at? Verse 32. Let's go to verse 32. Here we go, right? Now this is speaking of the Day of the Atonements, right? Commonly called Yom Kippur, but according to the Torah, the fullness of it is Yom HaKippurim, the Day of the Atonements. When we say Yom Kippur, it's like saying a day of a atonement. No. In the Torah it says Yom HaKippurim, the day of the covering, the atonements. Here it says in verse 32, right? 23:32, it says, it to you a Shabbat, right? A Shabbat, right? Sabbath here, right? Sabbath here as the noun. Sabbath as the noun, like an intermission. So we work, and then we take a pause where we don't work. That's to say the Shabbat, intermission, right? Of rest. Notice what it says right there. It says a Shabbat of Shabbaton. A Shabbat of Shabbaton. Let's see if we can get the verse right here. You have the hard copy just to go to the verse right here. It says, it shall be to you a Sabbath of, some translate it as solemn rest. Shabbat, Shabbaton hu lakem. Shabbat, a Sabbath of Shabbaton. Almost like a Sabbath of Sabbath. Shabbat, Shabbaton hu. Who is he or it? Shabbat, Shabbaton hu. A Sabbath of Sabbath, he or it, lachem. Lachem, lakem. To you all. Right? To you all. Now let's go on right here. What further it says? And y'all shall afflict your souls in the 9th. Right? The 9th. Right? Let's get the word for 9. Hold on for a moment. Let me, not the Arab, but let's go right here. In the Tesha. Tesha, Tisha. All right, Tesha, Tisha. You say, well, why there's 2 ways of saying 9? There's to say the numbers in the male sense and in the female sense. For that which is male energetically and that which is female energetically. So that's why there's 2, right there. When we're reading this here in the Torah, it says Shabbat, Shabbaton hu lakem, where nitem et nafasho takem be Tisha la Chodesh, on the Tisha of the Chodesh, right? On the 9th, right? Or what they say, the nonad. That's interesting, nonad. Right? I don't know if that's a typo, but the nonad, another way of saying 9, on the 9th of the Chodesh at even, right? At the Erev, the evening time. From the Erev to the Erev. Note that on this line right here, let's just highlight this so you can see this here on the screen. All right, let's highlight this, and let's highlight this up to here. Notice this right there. Even, from even to even. Notice that the word, the H word, right, the Strong's word is 86153. Right, that's the Erev. That's the Erev. Right? Let's bring this out in the Torah scroll right here. It says, Ba Erev, Ba Me Erev, Ad Erev. Ba Erev, in the evening, Me Erev, from the evening, Ad, going on to Erev, going on to the evening, right? Tishibatu, Tishbatu, Tishibatu, 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 you will Shabbat. So here we have the word Shabbat as the verb, Tishibatu, Shabbat Tikem. Tishibatu, Shabbat Tikem. Right? Y'all shall Shabbat, y'all Shabbat. Y'all shall Shabbat, y'all Shabbat. Almost like y'all shall rest, your rest, in that sense, right here, here, here. But here's the point. Notice this right here, the word celebrate. Remember we touched on the word celebrate in verse 41? I can remember this is for the Day of Atonement, right? So it might seem odd, right? Since celebrate in the other term has a sense of being happy, being giddy, holding a feast, like something that is, festive and joyful. And then you see this word celebrate here. But what's the word, right? The word is the 87673. It's actually Shabbat. But here we have Shabbat, not as the noun Shabbat, right? So it's not according to the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law. Here we have the verb. Shabbat means he deceased. He desisted, right? He ceased. He desisted. He rests, in the sense of to rest, to desist from labor, right? So there's the rest, like why nafash, to take a breath. That sense of rest. And then there's the rest in the sense of the rest from to cease, to desist from your labor, right? So over here, celebrate is Shabbat, right? Is to cease, desist from labor. This here brings out the sense of celebrate in what way? To rest, to desist from labor, desist from whatever your occupational activity, right? Your Sabbath. Tishibatu, right? Tishibatu, Shabbat Tiken. All right, so there's a different context. See, right here, even here in the notes, the translator's notes, they specify that, because they recognize that, come from an English perspective, that could be a little bit confusing. Because then you'd be like, okay, so we celebrate, but then it says to afflict your soul, or we celebrate, right? It's not the same kind of celebrate, all right? But let's go once again to the verse. Just wanted to bring out that point, so we went through that right there. Hopefully it was received. Over here in verse 41, the word for celebrate is chagag, right? To hold a feast, right? Because remember, the command for the Day of Atonement is to afflict or humble your soul, humble your psyche, humble your soul. But the command for the seventh of the seven appointed feast festivals, the haMo'ed Yahweh, is to do what? To joy, right? Rejoice for 7 days. So therefore, when it says you also celebrate, right? So that there could be, from an English perspective, it could be somewhat confusing. But then again, what does the word say to I and I? The word say to I and I to study, right? To study, to shew ourselves approved, right? To who? To each other? No, to Yahweh Eloheinu, to the truth of the word, to the truth in the spirit. As
Study to show thyself approved, study to show thyself approved, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, word of truth, word of truth, word of truth.
So the point right here is that in this one chapter, right, we're just pointing out two words translated basically as celebrate. Because, somebody would be, well, what does celebrate mean? Let's look up in the Webster's Dictionary. Yeah, you can look up in Webster's Dictionary. But that only we're still in English. But getting to the roots, right, we find that we have two words. One word is Shabbat, right? The verb, Shabbat. And the other word is Chagag, right? The verb, right, to celebrate, to be joyful, a sense of being giddy, to participate in like a sacred procession, right? A march, to go in circle around, just joy. So here in verse 42, why I'm zooming in on this is because, just to keep it, as they say, a buck, just the 100, right? Sometimes, even for a celebration as Tabernacles to joy, do you ever find sometimes, you have to work on your joy? For real, you know what I mean? Remember, the command is to joy. It's just like when it says to afflict your soul, right? Like one will have to fulfill it, will have to first understand, well, what does he mean by afflict? Now, traditionally, for Yom HaKippurim, most ones traditionally would fast. And for many ones at the basic level, fasting for most, we got to eat, right? So fasting can be a type of affliction that might help ones to focus on their psyche, focus on their soul. But here, when we come to this, the fulfillment here, right, it's about joy, right? It's also about dwelling, as verse 42 says, you shall dwell in booths, right? The word dwell is yashab, all right? This is where we get the word yeshiva, right? In the Rastafari yeshiva, right? Come, make we sit up together, right? Rastaman called children of faithful, say, sit up together. Well, yashab is what? Yashab is to dwell, to remain, to sit. The root sense of it is to sit down, to seat up, to be seated up together, right here, to sit down, specifically as judge, right? Or in some context, to sit in ambush or to sit in quiet. The implication is to dwell or to remain, right? In the causative sense of the verb, it can mean to settle or marry, but the context here is, and y'all shall sit, shall dwell, shall seat up in booths. Booths is a sukkah, a booth, a thicket, a booth, a covert, a booth, a rude or temporary shelter, a hut, a lair, like a den, right? Shall sit in booth, how many days? Shivat Yamim, all that are Israelites, Yisrael, right? Israelite born, right? Ezra, like our native, right? The sense of like arising from the soil, right? One who's a native, right? Israelites, right? Shall dwell, right? Same word, the H3427, Yashav, right? In booths. So you see in this verse 42, it's like Yah is twice emphasizing to seat up, to dwell in booths, right? To dwell in the Succoth, right? But what's the purpose? Why, Yah? Lama zeh. Why this, oh Yah? What? That your generations may know, that the generations, right? The generations, door. The word for generation is door. When you see the original, you see what it says original at the top right there. You see the two spellings, because when you look at the Hebrew scriptures, you find the two spellings. One is the full spelling with the wow, right? The wow, some say vav, right? The other one is without, right? So one is dalet wow resh. The other is dalet resh. So one is DWR and one is DR, right? But when properly enunciated, basically the one sound is the same, door. Right? Some might say dawar. Yeah, if I'm teaching my little children, da-wa-re, right? Dawar. But then when you point it, right? Door, right? It's a door. What is a door? Door, not door in English, but door in the Hebrew sense, BDB brings out, it's like a period of time, a generation. Some of us of a certain generation, we say, this new generation, because they're in a new time. Right? Then new time, like I'm about to say anybody uses pages, right? But then over in the East, they were using pages, right? And got hit with the pages. But what I'm trying to say is that it's a generation of time, right? See what it says, a period, right? A period, an age, a generation, a period of time, a generation, those living during a period of time. Right? A generation. So it says like from generation to generation. So from I generation, from back in those days, to the new generation of those coming up in this generation. Generation characterized by quality, condition, the class of men. Right? We can definitely see, even the youngins are seeing differences. Though they're born now, they can see differences in the generation. This is just a zoom in on certain areas, on certain words, so that we can understand the context, right? The context. Because if you study, right, to show yourself approved, you're going to come across another word for generation, which is toldot, right? Toldot, right? What's the difference between toldot and dor? Right, and dorot, toldot and dorot. What's the difference between the two right there, right? This is where understanding, this is where, when you talk about understanding, is the ability to discern, right? Discern between two things that could be similar, right, but not quite the same, right? Attention to detail, properly a revolution of time. So a door is like an age, right, or a generation. Right, so from the parents' generation, they were born at a certain time, and their children, right, will be in a different generation, right? So that's your generation. So like all of them, from the parents, the children, the grandparents, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, that they all may know, that they may what? Believe? No, they say believe. What? That they may guess? They didn't say guess. That they may that they may know, right? Yada, yada, yada. That they may yada, yada, yada. That they may know, right? Even the word know is an interesting sense, to know or to learn to know, right? Also the word know in the Hebrew sense is to perceive and see. Seen, sight, to find out, yada, 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 right? To find out and discern. Also in the Hebrew sense, yada, right? Yada is to discriminate or to distinguish. Yada, to know by what? By experience. This brings out like the New Testament sense of the word that's used, gnosko or gnosis, right? To recognize, to admit, to acknowledge, to confess, to consider, right? To know in the sense to be acquainted with. In the carnal sense, right? Like Adam, he knew his wife, man know his wife. In that sense, that implies a very intimate knowledge, yeah? To know how, also, to know how, skillful, to know. And the noun for knowledge is da'at, right? To have the da'at, the knowledge, right? And this is where the next level, the hokmah, wisdom, knowledge, wisdom, understanding right there. Could get into that a little bit more, but that your generations may know that I made the Bnei Yisrael, the sons of Israel, to dwell in booths. Need we do this again? Let's do this again. That's the word yashab, to sit up, be seated up in booths, in Succoth, right? When I brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim, when Yahweh brought them out of the land of the two lands, Mitzrayim, the Tawi, right? Falsely called Kemet, right? Because Kemet is only just a part of the Tawi, right? But the Tawi is the two lands. That's what the ancient Mitzrayim calls it, the ancient Egyptians call it. Kemet is like the, how we say, Kemet is like the east side. Let me tell you, like the east side. What about the west side, right? Or, and then we also have the north and the south. Be that as it may, Yahweh brought 9 generations out of the land of Mitzrayim, and then he seals it up. He signs off right here. He says, Ani, right? Yahweh Elohei Kem, Yol Elohim. Verse 44, and Moshe declared. Moses did what? Dabar. He spoke, he conversed, right? He spoke to the Bnei Yisrael, the feast, right? What's the word for feast? The haMo'ed. Now, see, we talk about feast, right? To have a feast. Sometimes we look at the word feast, right? And then we look at the word feast here. You see, so sometimes the translation approximates it, right? And sometimes some of the confusions or even sometimes the imagined contradictions that people have with a translation is because you're dealing with a translation. And Moses declared to the Bnei Yisrael the feast of the day, Yahweh, the feast of he who be, who he be. Just to bring this out right here, for this generation.
A generation gap. A generation
Here, before you ride up, gonna return to a classic here. Desmond Decker, Young Generation.
They cannot keep down the head no more. For every head, my friend, on the bed. And if you ask me why, I tell you no lie. It is very hard sometimes for a man to find his own need. Sometimes to get a meal, he has to go up and see. And if you send them to jail, if the more them wail, the more them eat good food, if the more them rude. Now, what is gonna happen to the young generation? What is gonna happen to the youth of today? It is very hard sometimes for a man to find his own need. Sometimes to get to leave, he has to go and steal. And if you send them to jail, if the more them wait, the more them eat good food, if the more them rude. What is gonna happen to the young generation? What is gonna happen to the youth of today? Get up in the morning slaving for bread, so that every mouth can be fed. Oh, me Israelites. Get up in the morning slaving for bread, so that every mouth can be fed. Oh, me Israelites. On my kids, on a leaving, darling, she said I was young so busy. Them a tear up choices the floor. I don't want to end up like Bonnie and Clyde. After a song, they must be your call. Touch me in the palm, you sound your alarm. Israelite. In the morning, they sing for bread, so that every mouth can be. Darling, she said that was the year to be. Them a tear up choices I go. I don't want to end up like Bonnie and Clyde. There must be a problem. In the palm, you sound your alarm.
Yes, another Desmond Decker classic right there. The Israelites. So right here for Succoth, we have the reading from Ecclesiastes. Now, for the Day of the Atonement, we had the Jonah reading, right? So right here, for this season, this time, usually on the Hoshana Rabba, but also during the intermediate days of the feast, the Medi on Ecclesiastes, right? Vanity of vanities. As we sit in our Sukkah, we Medi on Ecclesiastes, or Kohelet in the Hebrew, Kohelet, Ecclesiastes. Here, let's just Medi a little bit on chapter 1. Yes, Shema Yisrael.
מגילת קהלת, פרק א'. דברי קהלת בן דוד מלך בירושלים. הבל הבלים, אמר קהלת, הבל הבלים, הכל הבל. מה יתרון לאדם בכל עמלו שיעמול תחת השמש? דור הולך ודור בא, והארץ לעולם עומדת. וזרח השמש, ובא השמש, ואל מקומו שואף, זורח הוא שם. הולך אל דרום, ושובב אל צפון, סובב סובב הולך הרוח, ועל סביבותיו שב הרוח. כל הנחלים הולכים אל הים, והים איננו מלא. אל מקום שהנחלים הולכים, שם הם שבים ללכת. כל הדברים יגעים, לא יוכל איש לדבר, לא תשבע עין לראות, ולא תמלא אוזן משמוע. מה שהיה הוא שיהיה, ומה שנעשה הוא שיעשה, ואין כל חדש תחת השמש. יש דבר שיאמר, ראה, זה חדש הוא. כבר היה לעולמים אשר היה מלפנינו. אין זיכרון לראשונים, וגם לאחרונים שיהיו, לא יהיה להם זיכרון עם שיהיו לאחרונה. אני קהלת הייתי מלך על ישראל בירושלים, ונתתי את ליבי לדרוש ולתור בחוכמה על כל אשר נעשה תחת השמיים. הוא עניין רע נתן אלוהים לבני האדם לענות בו. ראיתי את כל המעשים שנעשו תחת השמש, והנה הכל הבל ורעות רוח. מעוות לא יוכל לתקון, וחסרון לא יוכל להימנות. דיברתי אני עם ליבי לאמור, אני הנה הגדלתי והוספתי חוכמה על כל אשר היה לפניי על ירושלים, וליבי ראה הרבה חוכמה ודעת. ואתנה ליבי לדעת חוכמה ודעת הוללות וספלות, ידעתי שגם זה הוא רעיון רוח. כי ברוב חוכמה רוב כעס, ויוסיף דעת יוסיף מכאוב.
Yes. Okay, I thought that was the English right there. That was the Hebrew run through chapter 1. Right, chapter 1 of Ecclesiastes. Chapter 1 of Ecclesiastes right there. And here, just scroll to chapter 3 and share Ayala in Gedashet. She's touching on here on chapter 3. Let's bring this up right here. All right, so what about this book? Why was this book appointed to be read, especially during the time of Tabernacles? All right, during the time of Tabernacles in our Sukkah, in our hut. All right, so right here, this is bringing it to chapter 3 right here, time and the season, the Beta Israel, right? Ethiopian Yehudit artist Ayala in Gedashet. This tune called To Move, right? To Move. Here, from Ecclesiastes.
בזמן המתאים ברגע הנכון יש פתרון. בזמן המתאים ברגע הנכון יש פתרון. בזמן המתאים ברגע הנכון יש פתרון. בזמן המתאים ברגע הנכון יש פתרון.
Yes, Ayala. Ayala in Gedashet with Lanua, or To Move. The English name of it, To Move, is Ecclesiastes, Kohelet, chapter 3 right here. So we should try to show on the screen the verses that she read, that she sung out right there was verses 4. Actually verses 3 and 4. It says Eight La Ledet, or with Eight Lamut. Okay, yeah. Okay. The verses, okay, yeah. So she read out just a select a few of the verses right here. I think it was verse 1 and verse 2, right? I mean, verse 2 and verse 3 right here. But these verses right here are time. So let's zoom in on chapter 3 right here. But let's get an overview, right? First things first, let's get a little overview. Just a little overview of this book right here, right? Time to be born. Yes, you begin with time to be born and the time to die, right? In the Hebrew, Eight La Ledet, with Eight Lamut, and time to plant and a time to pluck up, right? Planted, to pluck up that which is planted. In the Hebrew, Eta la ta'ata wa Eta la akora na tua, la lakor na tua, right? And time to plant and a time to kill and a time to heal. But this whole thing about time, eight, right? So the key, the part that you sing in the chorus, part of that was nuat, to move, and eight, right? This is eight, right? Eight, a time as a time of an event, eight, right? Eight, la ledet, to be born. With eight, the eight lamut, and a time to die. A time, usual, experience, one might say fortune, occurrence, occasion, right? Time, right? Here, time, right? So, what about time, right? What about time, right? A time, a season. Why is the preacher, now this book is known in the Hebrew as the preacher. So we shared Alexander Scorby, that was Shemulov. What's his name? What's the brother's name right there? Shemulov right there with his reading right there of the Hebrew. All right, but here, let's go over here. There's much I want to share right here, but just to touch on this right here. This is an interesting book, right? Ecclesiastes, right? And it's the book that's part of the five Megillah, the Megillot of the scrolls. You remember when Paul says, and when you come, bring my cloak and bring the scrolls, bring the parchment scrolls. So we have what is known as the five Megillot, the five scrolls, namely Song of Songs, right? Song of Songs is the appointed Medi for the Passover season. Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, right? Then we have Ruth for the harvest or Pentecost time, right? Ruth or Cherut, right? Then we have Lamentations for the Tisha B'Av, remembering the destruction of the temple when we weep or remember, mourn for Zion, right? The Tisha B'Av, speaking of the two temples, right? The first and the second temple, right? Then Ecclesiastes, here we have Ecclesiastes right here for Succoth, right? For Succoth, for booths, for tabernacles. And the fifth of the five Megillot, or the five scrolls, parchment scrolls, is Esther, right? Or Astir, right? Ishtar, Esther, right? Is the book of Esther, and that there is for Purim, right? The time of Purim, the Medi in the time of Purim. But here we have Ecclesiastes, right? Ecclesiastes. So let's just touch on just the opening section here, just to get a groundation, right? Although this is often read in the full on the seventh day, right, of Succoth, that is known as Hoshana Rabba, salvation. But even more so, it is Medion. We meditate it during this time in the season. What an interesting book to meditate on, all right, this time in the season. I found that the Scofield Study Bible had some interesting notes at the beginning, right? And then if we go a little bit deeper in our study, right, to the K and D, Colin DeLeach notes here. Let me see if I can scroll down here. There's something that I found that I just wanted to point out to the Chabarim right here. Let's go over here. Okay, note the Ha Elohim. Yeah, when it speaks about the God, the true God, Ha Elohim, Ha Elohim. There's a portion here. Let's see, the author of such thoughts. Okay, going down here. One more. Okay, bang. There we go. See what it says? A NT believer. That's like Brit Chadash, Brit Chadash, Amania, Mitmanon. You know, a believer would not be able to write such a book as that of Job, or even as that of Kohelet. Kohelet is what we call Ecclesiastes, is like the preacher. Ecclesiastes, or the preacher, in Hebrew, we call it Kohelet, right? Without sinning, against revealed truth. So let's just read that once again. A New Testament, a Berit Chadasha believer, faithful, right, would not be able to write such a book as that of Eov, which is Job, or even as that of Ecclesiastes, which is called Kohelet, without sinning against revealed truth, without renouncing the better da'at, the better knowledge, meanwhile made possible without falling back to an Old Testament standpoint. The author of the book of Kohelet is related to revealed religion or the revealed da'ati, revealed knowledge, right, in its Old Testament manifestation. He is a believer, a faithful, right, a believer before the coming of haMoshiach, say before the coming of Yeshua haMoshiach, but not such an one as all or as most were, but of peculiar character and position. There are some natures that have a tendency to what? To joyfulness, and others to sadness. The author of this book does not belong to the latter class, those have a tendency to sadness. For if he did, the call to rejoice that is found, right, here another link with the reason for the reading in this season, in Ecclesiastes 11:9 and Ecclesiastes 8:15, would not as it does pervade his book, right? So when I read that there, I said, it matched what I saw over here in this note I'm about to share right here. Right? It says, though in a deeper sense, pervades the epistle to the Philippians. Right? So here making a comparison with this book and the Brit Chadasha epistle to the Philippians. Neither does he belong to those superficial natures that see almost everything in a rosy light, that quickly and easily divest themselves of their own and of others' sorrows, and on that the stern earnestness of life can make no deep and lasting impressions, nor is he a man of feeling. Some elders used to teach I and taught I and others that feelings are for blind people and creeping things, if you can receive it, right? Nor is he a man of feeling, whom his own weakness makes a prophet of evil, not a predominantly passive man who before he could fully know the world withdrew from it and now criticizes it from his own retired corner in a careless, inattentive mood. But what kind of man is he? He's a man of action with a penetrating understanding, and a faculty of keen observation. A man of the world who, from his own experience, knows the world on all its sides. A restless spirit who has consumed himself in striving after that truly satisfies. This man who was forced to confess that all science, to say knowledge and studies, knowledge and art, all that table dainties and the love of woman and riches and honor yielded him was at last but vanity and vexation of spirit, and who gained so deep an insight into the transitoriness, changeableness, lack of permanentness, and vanity of all earthly things, into the sorrows of this world of sin and death, and their perplexing mysteries, does not yet conclude by resigning himself to atheism. In other words, when you really check out this book here, Kohelet, the book of Ecclesiastes, it's an interesting book, right? And it's basically saying that he goes to these heights and these depths, right? But he does not kind of resign himself to denying, right, the root of the world. In other words, denying that there is a true good, a true God, right? Putting nothing, right? Nothing. This is the idea that some people call nirvana, right? Or blind faith in the place of Elohim. Right? He doesn't resign himself to atheism, putting the so-called nothing or the nirvana or blind faith in the place of Ha-Elohim, but firmly holds to the fear or the reverence or respect, the respect of Elohim is the highest duty. In fact, he comes to the concluding part of the book, here the conclusion of the matter, and the condition of all true prosperity, as it is the highest truth and the surest knowledge, the surest da'at, that such is the case with him may well excite our astonishment, as well as this also, that he penetrates the known, what is known, the known illusory character of earthly things. So as Matthew says, illusion, all goes on as it has. The illusions, right? He penetrates the known illusory character of earthly things in no overstrained manner, despising the world in itself and also the gifts of Elohim in it, but that he places his ultimatum as to the pure enjoyment of life within the limits of the reverence or respect of Ha-Elohim, and extends it as widely as Ha-Elohim permits. One might therefore call the book of Kohelet, in the Hebrew Kohelet, called Ecclesiastes, the song of the fear of Elohim, the song of the respect, the reverence of Elohim, rather than the song of skepticism. For however great the sorrow of the world that is therein expressed, the really just conviction of the author remains in undiminished strength. And in the midst of all the disappointments in the present world, his faith, emunato, Be'Elohim and Elohim, and in the rectitude of Elohim and the victory of the good, even the good over the evil, right? The victory of good over evil, stands firm as a rock. Against that, all the waves dash themselves into foam. All right, so we're going to pause it right here, just at that part, but this caught our attention when we saw this here, and we compare and contrast this to bring this book into the Medi right here in the season with what we have in the Schofield Study Bible here. It says Ecclesiastes or the Preacher. This is the book of man. It says this is the book of man, quote, under the sun. Right? This is the book of man under the sun. All right, so a little study here, just a little study right here. Right? Right? This is the book of man under the sun. Remember, he uses this familiar refrain, right? Under the sun. Right? Under the sun. Have you noticed, if you study this book, how many times it speaks about and such under the sun? I think the first place under the sun comes in is in verse 3. What profit hath man of all his labor, wherein he laboreth under the sun? It's this verse right here. Wherein he laboreth under the sun. Ma yitron. Ma yitron la Adam. Ma, what yitron? What profit? Yitron la Adam. What profit is there for Adam, to say for man? All right? The call amalo. The call and all amalo. In all his labor, Sheya Amol, that which he, in all of his labor that he labors, right? Tahat under ha shamesh. So the phrase here, Tahat ha shamesh. Tahat under Let's bring out the word right here. They take it, or no, they don't bring out. They say under the sun, and you just have the word shemesh there. Right? They don't translate the word under. They don't bring out the word under right there. Just to be due diligence, let's go to the Tanakh with the blue letters on. Right? Okay, here we go. Tachat. Tachat ha-shamesh. Tachat. Under. You see the word under. Tachat. Under. Let's go down here. Tachat. Under. Can have a sense of instead of, or the bottom, that which is depressed, lower than, underneath. Tachat ha-shamesh. So this is the book of man, right? This is the book, right? This is the book of man under the sun. This is the book of man, Tachat ha-shamesh. Remind me what Yeshua said about, he was from above and, right, returns above, and he was from below, cannot go above. So here we have the sense of Tachat ha-shamesh, reasoning about life. So this is the book of man, of Adam, amen, all man, right? But here, Kohelet, the preacher, right, speaking of Shlomo HaMelech, right, Ben Dawid, the son of David, reasoning about life, Tachat ha-shamesh, under the sun. It is the best that man can do with the knowledge that there is a holy, a set-apart Elohim, a set-apart God, and that he, the set-apart Elohim, Ha-Elohim, will bring everything into judgment. Now, there are key phrases that we find in Ecclesiastes or in Kohelet, in the preacher. See, it takes the title from this word here, all right? The words, right? The words of the preacher, right? Kohelet, all right? The words of the preacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem. Let's get these first three Aleph Bet email verse, right? Divrei Kohelet ben Dawid Melech B'Yerushalayim. Divrei, the words of Kohelet, the preacher, Ben Dawid, son of David, Melech, king, B'Yerushalayim, B'Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem. What does he say moreover? Right? He says, vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, vanity of vanities, all vanity. The Hebrew here, Vrit, Habel Habalim, Amar Koheleta, Habel Habalim. Hakol Habel. Hakol Habel, modern Hebrew, Hakol Havel. Hakol Havel. All is vanity. So what are some of the key phrases? Key phrases here, that's a key phrase too, vanity. But the key phrases here are Tachat ha-shamesh, under the sun. I perceived, or Raiti, literally in Hebrew, I perceived is I saw. Raiti, I had saw. I said, believe, Amar believe, I said in my heart. So these are key phrases. Under the sun, I perceive, from Hebrew perspective, I perceive means I saw. Seeing, sight, I saw, right? And the third key phrase is, I said where? Believe in my lebab, my heart. Inspiration sets down accurately what passes, what the conclusions and the reasonings are, after all, man's, the Adam's reasoning. The man's reasoning. Even the Divrei Kohelet ben Dawid Melech B'Yerushalayim. They are the words of the preacher Kohelet, right? The Ben Dawid, the son of David, Melech B'Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem. But to the reasonings, there are inspirations here, and the inspirations are set down accurately in this book, right? But the conclusions and the reasonings are after all man's. Those conclusions are just. They're just. They're righteous. They're just in declaring it Habel. Habel. What is Habel? The 1892. Hebel, Habel. Hebel, Habel. This is the word for vanity. You see the word for vanity? Vapor. a breath. Breath, vapor, right? Vanity, even figuratively. Hebel, habel. So what's this verse here? Vanity of vanity, saith the preacher. Kohelet, vanity of vanity, right? Vanity of vanity. All is vanity. Habel, habalim. Vanity of the habalim, of the vanities. Amar, kohelet. Says, saith. Amar, kohelet. Saith the preacher. Habel, habalim. Right? Havel, havalim. Habel, habalim. Hakol, the all. The call, all. Hakol, the all. Havel, the all is vanity. So vanity, right? This word here is actually the word for breath, like a vapor. Like a vapor. Why? Why is vanity called like a breath of vapor? Because a vapor doesn't have any sustainability. It has no permanentness. You know what I mean? You know, like on a cold day, you know, some vapor come out your mouth. It's gone. It's gone. It's like, it's emptiness. So in the figurative sense, it's meaning like it's emptiness. It has no permanentness. It's transitory. And therefore, in its essence, it's unsatisfactory. Here, getting to the verb here, habal. Habal is the verb. What is habal? Habal is to act emptily, to act like a vapor, right? Act like a vapor. The sense of it in translation is to be vain in act, to be vain, to be empty in word, to be empty in expectation. And this specifically has the meaning of leading astray, leading astray. So notice how he opens up this book, vanity of vanities, habel habalim, right? So here he declares the conclusion as vanity in view of judgment. See, it's all about judgment, in view of judgment. Now notice the season, Tabernacles. Before Tabernacles, we had 5 days before Tabernacles, we have Yom HaKippurim, right? The day of judgment, the judgment day. Is your name written there? In which book? The Sefer HaChaim, the book of life, or the Sefer haMo'ed, of death? Is your name written there? Then before that, what do we have? We have 10 days, the 10 days leading up to the Day of the Atonement. And what do we have? The first day of the 7th month, we have the shofar, that trumpet, right? And then we can see the Brit Chadasha, where the Brit Chadasha, the new covenant scriptures, picks up on this pattern, as Moshe was commanded to see that he did all things according to the pattern, right? Descending with a shout, right, of the trumpet, that judgment, right? So when he declares all of it is transitory, Hebel, Habel, right? He says this in view of judgment. To devote one's life to earthly things is surely true. That is Hebel, Habelim, right? But the conclusion, what is the conclusion? The conclusion we have is in chapter 12, verse 13, right? Chapter 12, verse 13. Let's scroll there. Chapter 12, verse 13. I know this is a favorite part for ones and ones, but we're just seeking to put this into its ancient and therefore even its present context. The best thing possible for man under the law, Tahat HaTorah, right? See, in the Brit Chadasha, we are not under the law, right? We are in law. I don't want to over that right there. Some say we don't have a law. Well, they are lawless. But if you go to the Epistle to the Romans, right, chapter 8, verse 2, right, it says what the law of the Spirit of life, the Torah of the Spirit of life in Moshiach Yeshua, right? So we're not under the law, but we are in the law, right? We're not under the law. The law is in us. Christ is formed in us. But what was the best thing possible for man under the law? Verse 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear, reverence, Elohim, and keep his commandments. For this, the whole of man. Now, if you read in the KJV, a good KJV Bible, you'll notice some of the words are italicized. The word is and duty is italicized. Studying the Hebrew, this is the fullness. This is the whole of man. This is the full of man. For, what do you say in verse 14? For Ha-Elohim, the judge, the creator, the judge, Ha-Elohim, shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good, tov, or whether it be ra'ah, whether it be tov, right, or ra, whether it be good to say beneficial, or whether it be harmful, right? So it's a legal, right, conclusion. The best that man apart from redemption can do and does not anticipate the gospel. It seems as though Kohelet does not anticipate the Besorah, the gospel, the good news. See, now this might be hard for some. I know this book is, I love this book here too as well, but we have to put it into its context. See, Ecclesiastes, right? That's why I said in the other notes that a New Testament, right? A New Testament believer could not have really written a book like Job or even a book like Ecclesiastes, knowing what has been revealed thereafter. Remember when Moshe said that a prophet like unto me will rise up? Moses, the mediator of the Sinai covenant, right? Yeshua HaMoshiach, the mediator of the Brit Chadash, right? You know, that's why Yeshua Robenu said, right, when he said that no sign will be given to this evil and adulterous generation. But what he said? He said the sign of who? Right? The sign of Jonah. Check it. Jonah we read during the time and was read even the time of Moshiach, and even before, this was read during the time of what? This was read during the time of the Yom HaKippurim, right? Then he says to them that no sign will be given, because he knew that y'all know what this book is about. Y'all know when we read it and when tradition to read this book. So you know next to Jonah with Judgment Day, right? And with the judgment, right? And then he said something, he said, no sign will be given except the sign of Jonah. Then he goes on. Moshe goes on, and then he says something to the effect about the queen of the south. Some say the queen of Sheba, the queen of the south shall rise up in judgment, right? In judgment, right? With this generation, because she came from the furthest part of the land, right? Some say earth, but really some of the land. She came that Yemen is way down at the bottom, and Jerusalem is way up at the top. That's one edge. That's the end of the land right there. Anyway, to hear the wisdom of Shlomo, of Solomon, right? But a greater than Solomon. So we have this book, Ecclesiastes, is the book of who? The book of the preacher, Ben Hawi, Melech B. Jerusalem, king in Jerusalem. But a greater than Solomon, right, is come. So Ecclesiastes, all that is in 5 parts, right? It's in 5 parts. First is the theme, right? Chapter 1, right? Verses 1 to 3. Then the theme, the second part is the theme is proven in chapter 1, verses 4 to chapter 3, verse 22. Then the third part is the theme is unfolded in the light of human sufferings, human hypocrisies, human uncertainties, human poverty and riches. All right. Now here we have chapter 4, verse 1 to chapter 10, verse 20. Then the fourth part of Kohelet, right? The best thing possible to the natural man. The best thing possible to who? The natural man. Remember how Rabbi Shaul, right, aka the apostle to the Gentiles, our brother Apollos, how he speaks about the natural man, right? And he thinks the foolish, the natural man. The natural man don't really get these things. The natural, remember all that natural man that is spoken of? Right? Natural man as per law. interesting when we talk about sovereignty in the world and natural and this and that. But anyway, natural man doesn't really get it. But here in the fourth part of the book, the best thing possible to the natural man. To the natural man, apart from Ha-Elohim. Here we pick up with chapter 11. Chapter 11. It's interesting because in the world, a chapter 11 is what? What do they call it in the world, according to world law? A chapter 11 is bankruptcy, right? So here, the best thing possible to the natural man apart from Ha-Elohim. Chapter 11, verse 1 to chapter 12, line to chapter 12, verse 12. And then we have the fifth part. The fifth part. The fifth part is the best thing possible to man, Tahat ha-Torah, to man under the Torah, right? Here we have Ecclesiastes chapter 12, right? Chapter 12, verses 13 and 14 that we just briefly, right? We just briefly touched on. So here, more on this right here, in this season, this time right here. Just wanted to touch on this book right here. So when we come to the seventh day, one-to-ones can, have a good groundation and maybe read up on some parts of it. Read as much as is, eat as much as is convenient. It'd be good if one could eat the whole thing, but eat as much as convenient. So here, these first three verses, the words of the preacher, right? The son of David, king in Jerusalem, king in Jerusalem. Divrei Koheleta ben David Melech bi Yerushalayim. Verse 2. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all vanity. Habela habalim amar Koheleta habela habalim. Hakol habel. Here. Verse 3. What profit hath a man of all his labor that he taketh, right? Or more better, that he laboreth, right? Of all his labor that he taketh under the sun, or more better, that he laboreth under the sun. Ma yitron la'adam bekola amalo sheya amol tahat ha-shamesh. Tahat, under the shamesh, under the sun. What profit? Ma, what? Yitron. Yitron. It sounds like Jethro, right? Yitron, because from the same root, right? Yitron. Ma, Yitron. Yitron is advantage, right? Advantage from yatar, like the remainder, left over. It has a sense of profit, like the remainder left over, the excess, usually is like the profit. Like the courts, when you're doing accounting and books right there, you get the yitron. Yitron, the profit, the advantage, or the gain, right? What gain has a man of all his labor that he toils, right? Of all his toil that he toileth, right, in under the sun. Vanity, or habel, right? Habel right here. Habel, right? Habel, right? In Kohelet, and usually in the scriptures, it means not foolish pride. See, some people think vanity means foolish pride. There's other words for that, right? But it means the emptiness. It means emptiness, just like a vapor, a breath, right? A vapor. How long is a vapor, right? A breath. It's here one moment and it's gone the next moment, right? So vanity from a Hebrew perspective doesn't mean foolish pride, right? But it means emptiness in the final result of all life, of all living, of all liberty, apart from Ha-Elohim, apart from the Creator, right? It is to be born, right? What is it? To be born, to toil, to work, to labor, to suffer, to experience some transitory joy, some little joy here and there, that is as nothing in view of eternity, forever, ever, ever, to leave it all and to die. To leave it all and to die. Now, not to leave us right here, because we know that Paul and the New Testament apostles definitely had this on their minds, not to leave ones right here, but to take it to the Brit Chadash, right? The Brit Chadash, right? We're not under the law, right? But we are in law, right? We are in laws. Get it? So here in Romans chapter 8, verse 20 to 22. Right? Let's bring it to the Brit Chadash sense. Romans chapter 8, verses 20 to 22. Wow. I really get thanks here because as we was going through the holy day, the Shabbat, just recently in the double podcast after the Shabbat and the first day service, it was really interesting. This part I was seeking to bring out, about, why in the Brit Chadash we might read concerning the debtor's offering, but we do not give the debtor's offering, how we connect that with Hosea, take a few words, you know what I mean? And we are offering the calves of our lips, like the bullocks of our lips, word, sound, power, right? Because of this right here, right? Let's get this right here. Okay, for the creature, right? For the creature, let's just say the animal. For the creature was made subject to vanity. You get that right there? The creature, the animals. You ever think about it? Okay, man did something wrong, but then he offered the animal. It makes sense on one level, right? Because the animal is, if it's an animal that's like God created the animal, then it's perfect, right? If it has created with one head, doesn't have two heads. Created with 4 legs, don't have 3 legs or 5 legs. You know what I'm saying? Not a hybrid, right? Or something like that. You know what I mean? It is perfect, right? As an offering. What else can man offer? Right? What could man offer? Money to God, or what could he give? Right? For the creature was made subject to vanity. You ever read this verse right here and just ask yourself, what does this mean, Chabrin? What does it mean to the creature? To say the animal. The word animal doesn't appear in the King James Version of the Bible. So the word creature, creation, often is the word or beast or something like that to refer to animal, right? For the creature was made subject to vanity. That means that the creature was made subject to even the whole sacrificial process, right? And remember, the sacrificial process, it appears, goes all the way back to the Gan Eden, to the garden state, right? At least after the garden state with Cain and Abel, right? They made sacrifices. Where did God tell them to make a sacrifice? How did they know to make sacrifice? They made sacrifices there. So it seemed to be something deeply entrenched, this kind of substitutionary kind of a thing, this like for like thing. But who was made subject to it? The creature, not willingly. You see what it says, not willingly? You think the animal says, okay, you did the wrong thing, so kill me and pour out my blood for your sake. You think the animal's like, yeah, that's what I want? No, but somehow the animal's made subject, right, to vanity, right? Not willingly, but by reason of him who subjected the same, to speak about the animal, in hope, in expectation. Right? This verse right here, right? Ki nika bisha, ha habaria, the creature, habaria laheba, for the creature was made subject laheba to vanity. Here the Hebrew Brit Chadash, kia nika bisha, kia nikvisha, ha beria laheba loa meya re ona, not of its own like will, rezona, willingly, right? Ki'im, right? Lima'an, but because of ha kodesh, alta, but because of the one who subjected her, right? Elei tikwa, right? In hope, on behalf of hope. But hope is a sense in Hebrew that tikwa is like expectation. Let's go on to verse 21. Because the creature right? The creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of who? The B'nai Elohim. The who? The sons, right? The children of God. Asher Habriya Gam Hiya Tishuhara Meya Abadut Ha Kiyayom Eta Cherut Kabod B'nai Ha-Elohim, right, into the kabod, the glorious liberty, right, into the glorious cherut, right, liberty, right, kabod, glory, b'nai, sons of Ha-Elohim, sons of God, right? What does it say right here? It says, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now, right? Every creature. And it says here, and not only they, but ourselves, I and ourselves. So it's like the creatures suffer, creation is suffering, right? But even I and I is suffering, right? Also ourselves that have the what? The first fruits. See, I'm speaking to the season here, first fruits. Because the first fruits not of just the land, but the first fruits of the man, but moreover the first fruits of the spirit, right, in man. The first fruits of the spirit, even we ourselves grown within ourselves, waiting for the adoption. That means like to become sons, right? Truly, we can say we're the sons, but does he regard us as sons? Waiting for the adoption, redemption of our body. Right now, here, there's a verse here. This verse here, verse 19. But this is shit here. For the earnest expectation of the creature. That means the creation. The creation is living. Right? We know animals are living, but the creation is living. The earnest expectation of the creature, right, waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of God, the children of God. So in the sense, he's about, we want to save the earth, we want to save creation, the pollution. See, if that they would manifest themselves as the true children of God, by Shem Yeshua HaMoshiach, then you will save the earth. You will save the creature. That's the creature is not waiting for you to do all this nonsense that people think they're going to save the earth. If you're not saving yourself, how are you going to save the earth? See, here, it says, for the earnest expectation of the creature, waiteth for the manifestation. So creation is waiting for the children of Elohim, for the children of God to manifest. Right? To manifest. You know, people think like, oh, they're waiting for the Lord, for God, for Yeshua to do it. Hasn't he done it already? I mean, hasn't he done enough for us to do the rest in order to begin to do the rest? Or to start out to do the rest? You know what I'm saying? For the earnest expectation of the creature, waiting for the manifestation of the sons or the children of God. Let me just get this verse right here for y'all. It says, Ki ha-bariya, for the bariya, the creature, right? Ki ha-bariya, ta'arog. Wow, ta'arog is like, when it says, my soul panted, I'm like panting. Ta'arog with a neha tiluyot lehita galut, right? Gala, like to be revealed, right? Lehita galut, for the manifestation, for like the unveiling of the B'nai Ha-Elohim, of the children of God. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly. That's why if you read Ecclesiastes, Kohelet, Shlomo HaMelech, right? King Solomon, Shlomo ben Dawid, he has this reasoning. So, you know, there's a reasoning for ones who are familiar with Ecclesiastes. You know it's there, where he says, "Who tells you that when man dies, his spirit goes up and the animal spirit go down. Who told you that? And like what preeminence does man have over the beast? Now, there is a preeminence, but not in this fallen condition. Check. For the creature was made subject to vanity, hebel, right? Not willingly, right? But by reason of him that hath subjected the same in hope, in the expectation, right? Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption, right? So the earth, the creation, became more corrupt because man, right, fell, and because of man's corruption. Not just the pollution he does when he, pollutes the earth, which is bad, or pollutes the sea, which is bad, or pollutes the air, atmosphere, which is bad, but also his thoughts, right? His thoughts. Because you have to remember what man was created in the, yes? Delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the B'nai Ha-Elohim. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, that have the first fruits. The what? The first fruits. Now notice this season, the ingathering, right, is also the time to you can say to count and take stock of the fruit, the 9 fruit, as the scripture pointed out, the 9 fruits of the Spirit. See, in the old covenant sense, it was the crops that came in from the land, right? It's still about the crops because food. It's about the food. Y'all blessed over food, right? So when we're in the land, it's about that crops of the land as well. But in the Brit Chadash, or the new covenant sense, if you can understand the earthly type of gathering when we're in the land and booths to remember what Yah did with our ancestors and what he is doing and will do for us, you know what I'm saying? To recall that right there. Then in the Brit Chadasha sense, you should be able to understand the heavenly aspect or the higher aspect, right, of the fruit of the Spirit. That's going to link with the other part of the scripture where it talks about the 9 fruit of the Spirit, right? How's it growing? How's it going in this season? All right. So even though we're not in the land, so we can't really bring forth the fruit of the land. And if you have land, then you can, you don't livicate it to Yah and say, yes, this is the harvest here I give thanks for, right? But whether you have land, in the land, and growing fruit from the land, get that income there's still, what about the income of the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit, right? And it says right here, right? Not only the creation, right, and the creatures, but ourselves also, who have the first fruits of Ha-Ruach. Even we ourselves grown within ourselves, waiting for the adoption. Let's bring this out from the Greek right here, right? Was euothesia, euothesia. Let me look at the Greek. Euothesia, right? Euothesia is adoption. Adoption as sons. Adoption as children, as sons. That relationship that Ha-Elohim was pleased to establish between himself and the Israelites, the B'nai Yisrael, in preference to all other Goyim, all other nations. That's the first part, the A part. The B part, the nature and condition of the true disciples, the true Talmudim. Talmudim in the Hebrew is the word for disciples, right? Because we're in the Talmud of HaMoshiach, Yeshua, in his teaching. The word Talmud is the opposite word that means teaching, right? The true disciples in Moshiach, who by receiving the Ruach, the spirit of Elohim, into their souls, their psyche, their minds, become the B'nai Ha-Elohim, right? And then others see this as the blessed state looked for in the future life, right? But the future life is the life in the new covenant even now, right? They say after the visible return of Moshiach from heaven, right? Now, that one right there, we got to touch on that right there, right? Because that one is conditioned on this one, on the B. And the B is conditioned on the A. In other words, you can't get to C before the A, B, A, B, C, right? But here, going down to Strong's right here, the word Euosacia. It means placing as a son. This is a sense of adoption. Figuratively, it's the Messiahite sonship in respect, right? In reverence to Yahweh Eloheinu. So just to bring this out right here, connecting theme and theme, Ecclesiastes for the reading and feeding in these days, right here, and especially when we come to the seventh day, the Hoshana Rabba. Remember Hoshana Rabba? Wasn't that what they said to Yeshua when he came into Jerusalem, Yerushalayim? You know, it's a donkey, and they was taking off their coats and the palms, putting it down in the way. And they said, Hoshana Rabba. And then some of the other rabbis and Pharisees and the other, the ones were like, oh, tell them stop doing this. Don't do that. But notice that's a fulfillment of what we have here, right, from Ecclesiastes, right, and the message here, right, to the Brit Hadasha. So Romans chapter 8, right, connects here. We're just picking up with the first three verses with a theme, just laying a foundation for the theme, Chaverim, of the preacher, right? The Kohelet, and the preacher in the sense of the son of David, Ben Dawid, in the sense of Shlomo, Solomon, right? Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, right? Hebel Habalim, Hakola Habel, all is vanity. This is the theme. And come, Chaverim. Let's unpack this theme here, right? From the Brit Hayashana to the Brit Hadasha. So right here, right? Under the sun. Remember when Moshe said that you are from below, I am from above, right? Under the sun, right? So this is why Ecclesiastes is the best, as it says right here, is the best. Let me get the part right here in the notes right here. Is the best that man can do with the knowledge that there is a set apart or holy Elohim, and that he will bring everything into judgment. Yet, it does not anticipate, right, the gospel, right? Because remember what Yeshua said about the Queen of the South? She came from the furthest part of the land, right, from even way in Yemen, the Horn of Africa, Ethiopia, to Jerusalem, right, from the southern kingdom to the north. She came from the furthest parts of the land to hear the wisdom of Solomon, right, of Shlomo. And a greater than Solomon is here. In fact, where do you think Solomon got his wisdom from anyway? Where do you think Solomon got his wisdom from? That's a whole other reasoning right there. Before we ride up with today's daily psalm, it's lickle, right? But it's talawa, right? Let's touch on Solomon being the wisest man. And they say Solomon was the wisest man, but he didn't know this, he didn't know that, right? So right here, let's share this right here. Solomon. Okay, classic wise right here. Put here to that wisdom of Solomon.
These are also the proverbs of Solomon, which the man of Hezekiah, king of Judah, copied out.
Solomon was the wisest man, but he knows the secret of a woman. Solomon was the wisest man, but he knows the secret of a woman. I will like this, I will like that, I can find it with Anna. I respect artists. And you know what them have been playing one but the Tegereti a long time and what no. Solomon was the wisest man. The secret of a woman. For real. Solomon was the wisest man, but he knows the secret. Solomon was the wisest man. That's why I was like this and I was like that. But inside this big and a parasna.
A two little blackbirds sat on the wall. One named Peter and one named Paul. Fly away, Peter, and fly away, Paul. Now come back, Peter, and come back, Paul. But dilly, me all a room for rent supply within. When I run out, you run in. And now roll on, because what in a first time a big man is down. I'm a little miss smoke, she's not on a sofa, just a eating her curd away. They don't came a fighter and sat down beside her and tried me smoke set out. That's why me ball jump around and wind up your body and kick out your pussy if you know say you're real. The people in the dance and they say life off him up and him girl leave so loud. Because we're a cause that is a big man in this town. But dilly, that's why a Solomon was the wisest man. Never know the secret of a woman. Solomon was good.
Solomon was the wisest man, but he didn't know the secret of a woman. Solomon was the wisest man, but he didn't know the secret of a woman. I am wiser than Solomon, so girl, don't play any tricks. Just be calm and be still. Don't run me down for my bread. You wasn't around when I was playing myself. Girlie, so alone. 'Cause I'm a big man in this town. I'm a man. Like the I was broken up.
Yes. Yes, brothers and sisters. Okay, hold on. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I heard the audio was choppy right there. Okay, so here. Give me one moment right here. We're going to touch on today's daily psalm, right? We have Psalm 93, right? Today's daily Psalm 93. I'd like to share today's daily Psalm 93. Give me one moment since we had to stop the other thing because it went off right there. Give me one moment right here. Psalm 93. Let's touch on Psalm 48, the evening psalm. Give me one moment right here. Bring that up on top. All right, bring that up on top. Yes, sir.
Rastafari. Africa is a must. So nobody force now cause. You have to jump on this bus. Zion bound, right?
Psalm 48.
מזמור מ"ח, שיר מזמור לבני קורח.
Great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised in the city of our God, in the mountain of his holiness. Beautiful for situation, the joy of the whole earth, is Mount Zion on the sides of the north, the city of the great king. God is known in her palaces for a refuge, for lo, the kings were assembled. They passed by together, they saw it, and so they marveled. They were troubled and hasted away. Fear took hold upon them there, and pain as of a woman in travail. Thou breakest the ships of Tarshish with an east wind. As we have heard, so have we seen in the city of the Lord of hosts, in the city of our God. God will establish it forever. Selah. We have thought of thy loving kindness, O God, in the midst of thy temple. According to thy name, O God, so is thy praise unto the ends of the earth. Thy right hand is full of righteousness. Let Mount Zion rejoice. Let the daughters of Judah be glad because of thy judgments. Walk about Zion, and go round about her. Tell the towers thereof. Mark ye well her bulwarks. Consider her palaces, that ye may tell it to the generation following. For this God is our God forever and ever. He will be our guide forever, 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 forever.
מזמור מ"ח, שיר מזמור לבני קורח. גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, בעיר אלוהינו הר קודשו. יפה נוף משוש כל הארץ, הר ציון ירכתי צפון, קריית מלך רב. אלוהים בארמנותיה נודע למשגב, כי הנה המלכים נועדו, עברו יחדיו. המה ראו כן תמהו, נבהלו נחפזו. רעדה אחזתם שם, חיל כיולדה. ברוח קדים תשבר אוניות תרשיש. כאשר שמענו כן ראינו, בעיר אדוני צבאות, בעיר אלוהינו. אלוהים יכונניה עד עולם סלע. דימינו אלוהים חסדך בקרב היכליך. כשמך אלוהים, כן תהילתך על קצווי ארץ, צדק מלאה ימיניך. ישמח הר ציון, תגלנה בנות יהודה למען משפטיך. שובו ציון והקיפוה, ספרו מגדליה. שיטו לבכם לחילה, פסגו ארמנותיה. למען תספרו לדור אחרון, כי זה אלוהים אלוהינו עולם ועד, הוא ינהגנו על מות.
Yes, brothers and sisters. Yeah, a little bit of technical something right there. But here, let's touch on today's daily psalm. Now, usually for this intermediate day, right, this fourth day, we read the fire key offerings, but I think that reasoning right there, concerning the creature, could have gone into the verse in Ecclesiastes, where actually there's a whole section where Solomon is making this quite now reasoning, concerning like, are we really better than the animals? Do our souls go up and theirs go down? And how do you know this? Who taught you that? It has a very, very good reasonment right there in Kohelet, aka the preacher. But here we have today's daily psalm, which is usually the Friday evening psalm. So the Friday evening psalm, as chanted in the Heikal of Yerushalayim, right up to the time of the second temple, we say 70 AD time. Here we have Psalm 93, right? So today's daily psalm, Psalm 93, Mizmor Tzadai Gimel, Tzadai Gimel, Tzadai Gamel. Now here, as you see on the screen, it says the KND column, the Leech note says, this is the royal throne above the sea of the peoples. Some theme this as the royal throne that is above the sea of the peoples. Now, I'm seeing this right here and understanding some of the ancient history. You heard about the sea peoples, right? It's a very interesting period of history. It's like when there was almost a collapse of civilizations, right? Roughly, I think that was around the 12th, 13th, 12th century, like BC time, You know, the collapse of civilization, and they speak about these people, the sea peoples. Ancient Egypt speaks about them. This is where we get the Peleshet people and the original so-called Palestinian people. I mean, and that's one of the people today that call themselves this and that, because the word basically means immigrant. But there was a people called the Peleshet people. So in looking at this psalm here, from this theme here, where it says the royal throne that's above the sea of the peoples. Remember that Dawid and the Israelites had to deal with these sea peoples. You know, the peoples that the Egyptians, the Mitzrayim, took the people that were the immigrants that was trying to invade them, and then they turned them into I can say not mercenaries, but they made them work for them. It was like flipped it around on them and then placed them in the land. This is what we get to see the Philistines. When you see the Philistine connection with the sea people and the original Peleshet, or the original so-called Palestinians, the sea peoples. They were brought and placed there by Paro, by Pharaoh, by Mitzrayim, by Egypt. Anyway, be that as it may, this is one theme of today's daily psalm, Mizmor Tzadai Gimel. Tzadai, Hebrew letter Tzadai, has a numerical value of 90, and Gimel is the third letter of the Hebrew Aleph Beit alphabet. Aleph Beit Gimel. A, B, G, Abaga, if you please. The royal throne above the sea of people, side by side with those psalms that behold in anticipation the messianic future, whether it be prophetically or only typically, whether it's like a prophetic type or it's in type, you know, or typically and prophetically. Interesting there. Whether it's according to type, right? Type, for example, Dawid, according to type, right, was anointed, right? The greater David, the greater son, right? The Rastafari Mekonnen, aka Kedemah Haile Selassie, anointed as well. That's a type. But now if we look at it from Psalm 87, verse 4, with Ethiopia, Im Kush Zed Yulad Sham, Im Kush Zed Yulad Sham, with Ethiopia, Cush, this man was born there. We can see it prophetically. But here, side by side with those psalms that behold in anticipation the messianic future, whether it be prophetically or only typically, or typically and prophetically at the same time, as the kingship of Yahweh's anointed, of Yahweh's Moshiach, of Mashiach, his Messiah, that overcomes and blesses the world. There are others in that the perfected theocracy as such is beheld is like seen, right? Behold is beheld beforehand, not, however, as an appearing. So there's what's known as, when it says like the second advent, the second coming of Yeshua, looking at the Greek, right? The Koine Greek, the term is parousia, the appearing, right? It says the appearing of our Lord Jesus Christ, the parousia, right? It says, not, however, as an appearing of a human king, they say, but as the appearing of Yahweh, of Jehovah Atzmo, right? Atzmo, to say like Yahweh himself, as the kingdom of Elohim manifests in all its glory. Let's understand what's being said right here with this psalm here, right? The kingship of Yahweh's, of Jehovah's anointed, of the elect, the Siyuma Exavia, that overcomes and blesses the world. There are others in that the perfected theocracy, as we say, the moral theocracy, as such is beheld beforehand. They say, not, however, as an appearing or parousia of a human king, right? But as the appearing of Yahweh himself. The way we see the prophecy is that Yahweh himself, in his appearing, one might think is just a human king, as the kingdom of Elohim manifests in all its glory. Remember, he created man in his image after, yes? These theocratic psalms. So here we have the theocratic psalms, right, formed together with the Christocratic. Like that, right? Theocratic, which is theo, theo in the Koine Greek is God. Theo. They say theo, but in the old Greek, theo, right? Or theo, the God. Theocratic, God ruling Psalms, together with the Christocratic or the Moshiachcratic. It was Messiah, the anointed ruling. So there's the God ruling Psalms and there's the Messiah ruling Psalm. Two series of prophecy. This is where a lot of confusion comes in when people try to parse things. And we say, weep not, behold, the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. You know, they're either looking at one aspect and ignoring the next aspect, but it's two series of prophecies referring to the last time that run parallel with one another. We said the last time, the last days, the end time, the end of the times of the Gentiles. Because Yahweh says that after Yisrael had failed, you know, for that last time, so to speak, right, the 70 AD failure, you know, that what would happen to the kingdom, you know what I mean? And then the times of the Gentiles, you know what I mean? The times of the nation states. The one has for its goal, right? The one, either theocratic, Christocratic, has for its goal the anointed of Yahweh, who rules out of Zion, from Zion, Sion. So we went to touch on, well, what and where is Zion? People talk about Zion. And we said, weep not, behold, right? The Lion of the tribe of Judah, Ethiopia. This man was born there, right? Are you not as the children of Ethiopia? I mean, people don't get it. We said the Ark of the Covenant, they don't get it. We said the Davidic throne, they don't get it. That means they don't really understand what Zion is, right? Then some ism, right? Who rules out of Zion over all peoples. The other, Yahweh, sitting above the cherubim, what I like to refer to as the Kephraim, to give one a historical link or hint of what was these cherubim, Kephraim, to whom the whole world does homage. Yahweh sitting above the cherubim, to whom the whole world does homage. The two series, right? We like to say the two truths, right? When Yeshua Robbeinu said, if I show you earthly things and you don't understand, how can you understand heavenly things? The two truths, right? The two series, it is true, converge in the Brit HaYashana, what's called the Old Testament, but do not meet. So when we study in the Old Testament of the theocratic, right, the God ruling, right, and then we see the Christocratic, the Messiah ruling, we can see where they come close in many of the Old Testament scripts, but they don't meet, right? They don't meet, right? They don't cross until the cross. They don't make that tau, right? Aleph tau, right? The X, right? It is the history that fulfills these types. And prophets, it's the what? It's the what? It's the history. Let me see if I can highlight that right there. It is the what? The history that fulfills these types and prophecies that first of all makes clear that which flashes forth in the Old Testament only in certain climaxes, right? High points of prophecy and of lyric and of relic too, right? And then he gives us here Psalm 45. Now, Psalm 45, y'all, this is themed the royal wedding psalm, the marriage psalm, but this was the coronation November 2nd psalm, right? The November 2nd psalm, the anointing and coronation of the Rastafari Mekonnen upon the throne of David and the crowning of his consort. Take a minute. Here. La Natsiyah, Allah Shoshanim Libnei Korah Maskil Shira Yedidot. What does this mean, Chabarim? Let's go to the KJV. Oh, reliable right here. It says right here, this is the opening part. To the chief musician upon Shoshanim. Shoshanim, lilies, trumpets, right? In the true sense, the Shoshan is also the star, what they call the star of David. People say, oh, the six-pointed star is evil. Well, that means that you believe that the creator, Yahweh Eloheinu, created the heavens and the earth, right? And he put his fingerprint on it too, right? He has his mark, his fingerprint, so we know, like, you know, his like copyright, right? So we look at sacred geometry, right? We look at also the lily flower. The lily flower has how many petals? Right? Has 6. That's evil? My goodness. Oh my. So you're saying his creation's evil, right? You have a bad mind, right? Bad mind is worse than divination, right? Or obia. For the sons of Korah, a maskil. It's a song of loves, right? That's the opening verse right there. The fuller verse here is this. This is the fuller verse. La menatziach ala shoshanim libnei Korah maskil shir yedidot. Shir, a song of yedidot. Yedidot. Wadada. Yedidot, Wadada, right? Yedid, Wadada, Yedidot, right? The Hebrew Yedidot, right? From the Yadad in the Amharic, the Ethiopic, Wadad, Yadad, Wadad. Here, one beloved, the beloved one. Remember Solomon's name, right? That was given of Yahweh was Yedidiah, Yedidiyahu, Yedidiyahu, Yedidiah, Jedidah, right? The one beloved. So here, this is Yedidot. Yedidot in the Hebrew here is the plural, which means of loves, right? Of beloveds, right? Shir Yedidot. Here's the first verse here. Rahasha Libiya Dabar Tob, Omer Ani, Ma'asaya Limeleka Lishoni, 8, Sophir Mahir. Here, full of verse right here. Let's go to KJV Light for a moment. Right? My heart is inditing a good matter. I speak of the things that I have made touching the king. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer, right? The notes here, my skill is instruction, right? And my heart is inditing. Right? My heart is inditing. Sounds like a court, something in court, right? But my heart is inditing. In the Hebrew sense, this is like it boils, right? It bubbles up. My heart is bubbling up, right? Here, rahash, right? Rahash, bubbling up, right? Bubble up, right? Boiling up. Rahash libi, my heart, dabar tob, dabar, word tob, a good word. Right? A good word. Let's just show you this right here. My heart is inditing. The word inditing. Rahash. To keep moving is stir it up. Stir it up. My heart is gushing. My heart is boiling, is bubbling up. Rahash libiya dabar tob. My heart is bubbling up with the good word, with a good matter, with a dabar tob. Omer. I speak. Omer, speaking ani. I. Omer ani. Speaking I speak. Omer ani ma'asai limelech. Speaking I, ma'asai. Right? Speaking my work of the things, right, that I have made, the ma'aseh, right? The work, the deed, ma'asai, my work, my deed, right? Ma'asai li for melech. For the melech, for the king, for the melech, for the negus, even negus and neges, for the king, for the sovereign. My tongue, the pen of a ready writer, lishoni, my lashon is lishoni, my lashon, lishoni, 8, right, is 8, what's 8? 8 is a stylus, right? Could be an iron stylus with a diamond tip used to write on stone or metal. That kind of a pen or stylus, an iron stylus, right? Made out of iron with a diamond tip, right? A crystal diamond tip that's used to write on stone or metal, to engrave. Or in the B sense, it's a reed, right? A reed-like pen used on a roll or used on a scroll. Right? Lishoni, 8 Sophia, from Safar, to count, to relate, right? To tell, to count, to relate, to tell. We have the word Sophia, a writer. Sophia, Mahir. Sophia, Mahir is like swift, quick, right? Sophia, Mahir, like a quick writer, a prompt writer, a ready writer, right? A skillful writer. So right here, just pointing to this verse right here, is saying that it is the history that fulfills these types and prophecies that first of all makes clear that which flashes forth in Old Testament only in certain climaxes of prophecy and of lyric and of relic too. Here pointing to the first verse, superscription and first verse of Mizmor Mim Hey of Psalm 45, La Menatziach Ala Shoshanim Libnei Korah Masakia Shira Yedidot Rachash Libi Dabar Tov Omer Ani Ma'asai Limelek Lishoni Eit Sofir Mahir, that the Perusia, right? That the Perusia, the appearing of HaMashiach, the anointed one, and the Perusia, the appearing of Yahweh, of he who be HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hashem, blessed be he, blessed be the name, is one. Echad, is one and the same. One and the same. Now, that's bringing us right here, just to touch briefly on that right here, right, from the K and D notes, royal throne above the sea of peoples. But here in the hard copy we have before us, the theme of Mizmor Tzadeh Gimel is Elohim HaMelech, Yahweh HaMelech, he who he be, the king. Elohim, the king. So the psalm here, Psalm 93, it initiates. It's like a Hanukkah. It's like a Hanukkah. It initiates, inaugurates, it livicates a group, ending with the C note psalm. So from Psalm 93 to Psalm 100 is a particular group, but it omits one psalm is omitted from this group. From Psalm 93 to Psalm 100, one psalm is omitted, and that is Psalm 94. That has as its theme, today's psalm right here, the enthronement of Elohim, of Yahweh Eloheinu as Melech HaOlam. As you say, Baruch Atah Yahweh Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Some interpret it as King of the universe or Eternal King. So here we have the theme of the enthronement, right? Even the coronation of Yahweh Eloheinu as Melech HaOlam. Now, the older commentators on today's Psalm, Mizmor Tzadeh Gimel, they gave these psalms a messianic targum, a messianic interpretation as relating to a reformed world, the Tikkun Olam, a reformed world in the future. Right? Not the Olam Hazeh, not this world, but the Olam Haba, but the world Haba, the world to come. A more acceptable view, according to others, is that they originated at the return from the Babylonian exile. And these psalms here originated during the time of Ezra, Esdras, also known as Esdras in the Apocryphal book, and Nehemiah, around that time right there, roughly 400 or so years before the Berit Chadash, the first century time, the time of Yeshua HaNotri, Yeshua HaMoshiach. At the national catastrophe, when the tribe of Judah, when the Babylonians bust through the firewall of Jerusalem, right? And then they bust down the temple and took the Judeans into captivity in Babylon for the 70 years. That was the national catastrophe. On that first Tisha B'Av, right? On the 9th of the 5th month, right? Was both temples destroyed. The Temple of Solomon and 70 AD. How interesting. At the same time, right? In different times, but on that same date, right? But at the national catastrophe, what happened in the time of the southern kingdom of Judah, when Solomon's temple was destroyed and the Yehudi, the Judeans, the Judahites, even we, the black Jews, was taken into captivity in the Babylon, right? This was a national catastrophe, and it appeared that Yahweh Eloheinu, that our Elohim, that Ha Elohim appeared to have stepped down, appeared to the Israelites, or rather to the Judahites, who are Israelites, but specifically to the Judahites, because the other 10 tribes were gone, right? That it appeared that Elohim had abdicated, had stepped down. But now, with the return, right, out of the Babylonian captivity, right, this was the Adis Zemin, to use the Amharic expression, the new era, the new season, the new age. Adis, the Chadish, right, Zemin, right, the Zemin Chadash, right, was opening for the Beit Yisrael, for the Beta Israel, at home and abroad. Hopes, expectations took a wider sweep and looked for a reconstruction not only of Zion, not only of the church and the state, right? Speaking of Dawit, Zion, the seat of the Davidic government, the Messianic government, right? The state aspect, the government aspect, and the covenant there, the worshipful aspect, the church aspect, not only for the reconstruction of Zion, African Zion, but of the universe of Ha-Olam, Olamim, of the universe as Yahweh Eloheinu's kingdom. Now, in the LXX, the Septuagint, it has an interesting title in the Septuagint. It says, "For the day before the Sabbath." All right, in the Septuagint. This is also another reason why Psalm 93 was the Friday evening psalm, right? Because in the ancient scrolls, it was superscribed as for the day before HaShabbat, the weekly Shabbat, confirming the statement, right, in the ancient teachings, in the true areas of the Talmud, right, that the psalm, Mizmor Tzadai Gimel, was chanted in the Heikal, was chanted in the temple by Ha-Lewim, by the Lewim, the Levites, each Friday evening on the eve of the Shabbat. So right there, they're there. Just giving ones a little overview right there, they're there. Here.
Psalm 93.
מזמור צד ג'
The Lord reigneth.
אדוני מלך
He is clothed with majesty.
גאות לבש
The Lord is clothed with strength.
לבש אדוני
Wherewith he hath girded himself.
עוז התעזר
The world also is established.
אף תיכון תבל
That it cannot be moved.
בל תימות
Thy throne is established of old.
נכון כסאך מאז
Thou art from everlasting.
מעולם אתה
The floods have lifted up, O Lord, the floods have lifted up their voice, the floods lift up their waves. The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Lord, forever.
So here, let's go to verse by verse right here. Mizmor Tzadai Gimel. We have the Aleph, the Beit, the Gimel, the Dalet, and the Hey. Ba, da, ha. The Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, and Hey. 5 verses right here. Let's compare and contrast. As is I custom right here. Compare and contrast. First up, the KJV. Also note it doesn't have a superscription. We get right into it. Yahweh reigneth. He is clothed with majesty. Yahweh is clothed with strength. He hath girded himself. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. Here the Hebrew. Yahuwah malaka geuta labesh. Labesh Yahuwah oza hitazara. Aftikona tevel bal timot. Here. Yahweh reigneth. Yahweh malak. Right, Malak. Right, we have Malak. Right, Malak is to become or to be king. It's in the sense of to be coronated, right? Better reading of Yahuwah Malak. See, vowels matter. Malak, right, is he became king, right? Malak, he became king, right? Malak, hath become king, hath become Melech. Melech is king. Malak is the verb, right? He has become king. His apparently interrupted reign has been resumed. So another way of bringing this out, when it says Yahuwah Malak, he who he be is coronated. Yahuwah Malaka Geut Labesh. Geut, right? Labesh, right? It's the dress, Labesh. In the Amharic, we have Lebesed, Labesh. Afro-Shemitically, Labesh, right? He is clothed with what? Geut. Geut is majesty. From the root sense of the word, rising up like a column of smoke, swelling up of sea, majesty. It can have a sense of pride. We get to the root right here from Ga. Ga. What is Ga? Ga is a verb. Ga is to rise up, to grow up, to exalt and triumph. Ga has a sense of to mount up. Ga, right? Hence to rise, right? In a figurative sense, it's majestic. Right, just getting to the roots right here, right? And we have Gawa, Gawa, Gava, Gawa, right? We have Ga and Gawa, right? Gawa here is like pride, majesty, from the verb sense of rising up, like a rising up of smoke in that sense, a rising up of the sea, right? It's connected here in the sense of Geut as a majesty, like his majesty, right? The majesty of Yisrael. Yes, it can have a sense of pride, haughtiness with one who has no right to be proud or haughty. But with the Almighty, he be who he be. You know what I mean? It just be like that, right? So the Ga'ah sense, right? So here we have Geut, right? Geut, Labesh, right? Labesh, Yahuwah. He who he be is clothed. Labesh, right? How's he clothed? Oz, a hitazar. Oz. No, we clicked the wrong one right there. There we go. 5797. Oz. Oz is strength, is might. But usually applies to like material or physical strength, right? Or in the sense of personal, social, or political. You know, when they say like somebody has political capital, they say, oh, so-and-so, he spent his political capital. It's that kind of sense of strength as well, right? It can be material or physical, but it can apply to his personal, his social, or political strength. But it has a sense of strength in various applications: force, security, majesty, praise, the sense of boldness, loud, might, power, right? Here, he is what? He is girded, right? But see, the word azar, you heard what we said when we said from the Hebrew, right? We're going back and forth right here. Labesh Yahuwah oz hitazar. Labesh, he is clothed. Yahuwah, he who he be. Jehovah, Yahuwah is clothed. Oz, strength. Hitazar. Hitazar comes from the azar root, right? But it's in the what? It's in the heat pa'el sense. You can get the hint of the heat part of the construction. So the root is azar, right? The basic root, azar. When we build it, binyani, right? When we build it up, right? We build it up, right? To heat azar. Heat azar means that Yahweh has clothed himself, right? Has girded himself, right? That he has girded himself, right? With strength. That he's doing this to himself, right? He's girding himself. He's belting in that sense himself, but in the sense of like girding himself with strength. Going on right here, this first verse says, Af tikon, Af, yay, Af tikon. They don't bring it out here in the Strong, so we have to go down to Tanakh right here, where every word is brought out. Here we see the Af, yay, Af. It's a primitive particle. It's not really a word, but it's like something that is said implies something else. Af, as a sense of a session, like you're assenting to something, like agreeing to something. Af, tikon, right? Af, yay, The world is established. Yea, af, tikon. Tikon, she is established. Tebel, tebel, tebel. Right? The tebel, well, let's go to tikon. Tikon comes from kun. Kun is the root. To be firm, to be stable. Right? Tikon is telling us that that she is established. To say the world. But the word for world here, let me bring it up here so you can see this a little bit clearer right here. You see the word for world? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. They don't have the off there in the translation. You see the part where it says the world also is established that it cannot be moved? But in the Hebrew, right, it's af tikon tebela bala timot. Baal, it can never ever. Al, be'al, baal. I know one of the things is the other Baal, but you got to just, some things are similar but not the same, right? Yea, the world is the Tabel. So this Tabel, this world is not like Olam. Sometimes the world might be Olam, right? The world here is Tabel. It's defined as world, but let's get to the Strong. The Strong's bringing out best here. The earth as the moist places, the inhabitable places. There's some places on the earth that's you can live there, but it's not really a good habitat. It's not really a habitable spot, but there are those places that got a lot of water and got rivers, and it's just beautiful for situation. That's what it's talking about. So this word right here, Tabel, come from Yabal. Yabal is the root. Yabal has a sense of to lead, to conduct, to flow. Has a sense of to flow, right? To flow, because it deals with water, the water flow. That's why Tabel is the parts of the land that are habitable, that have the right conditions for habitation. It's not the world in the sense of Olam. It's just a translator translating, what they translate, but seeking to bring out the word. Yeah, all of them just say the world, but from a Hebrew sense, we know it's the habitable portions, right? The habitable portion, the watered portions of the world, right? So it says, Af, sure, for sure. Tikon, she established the Tabel. The Tabel is established, right? Baal Timot. Baal Timot. Now, what do we say with the word, right? That it cannot be moved. The word moved is mot, right? Mot, not moat, but moat, right? Balati mot, that it cannot be tottered, slipped, or shaken. Let me bring this out for ones. I know ones who say, oh, he just said Baal. Yes, we said Baal, but what Baal did we say? Baal Timot. Baal here is a part of speech, right, that has a sense of saying not. Right? Failure, nothing, not at all. Not to be confused with Baal. Baal, the word for husband or owner or master. We're not speaking about Baal. We're speaking about Baal Timot, right? That it can never ever, the sense is like it can never ever be moved, right? It's a way of expressing the verb, like it certainly can never be moved, right? He is clothed. He has robed himself. He's girded himself with strength to uphold the cause of righteousness, because he is the king of Malki Tzedek. He's the righteous king. Malki, my king, is Tzedek, righteousness. The world, the habitable portion of the earth is established. Stable conditions have been restored. What this verse is bringing out right here. So here, just zooming in on the Aleph verse right here, getting a good groundation here. Here again from the Hebrew, just reading through the Hebrew here. Yahuwah Malak, Geuta Labesh. Labesh Yahuwah, O Zehitazar. Af Tikona Tebel, Baal Timot. Here to the Beit verse, to the second verse right here. Thy throne established of old, thou from everlasting. Hit the note. Thou of old from then. Yeah. See, sometimes the translators, I understand. See, the word old sometimes is the word kedem, from the kedem. Sometimes is from the olam or the kedem. Here is saying from then. From then. from that time, right? But often, for poetical concerns, they translate it, thy throne established of old. But actually, in the Hebrew sense, thy throne established from then, thou from everlasting. Thou is from the olam. Thou is from long duration, from antiquity. Actually, the sense of forever is thou is from the vanishing point, from the concealed, right? Thou is from the time out of mind, the time past out of mind or future out of mind. It's from like time indefinite. Before time was not he who be, be? Before time became? That's what that means there, right? From everlasting. Nakon akisaka. Nakon akisaka. Me'az. Nakon. Establish. From the root verb kun. Nakon. Nakon akisaka. Kise. Kise is a seat, is a throne. A seat, a throne, royal dignity, right? A throne, right? Let's see if that's coming up. Is that coming up right here? Let me see if I can show you right here. Because I had these pictures of the coronation, right? The coronation of the Rastafari, that man that was born there, that man that Yahweh has made strong for himself, the Siyume Exhiabia. But the thing about it is that you'll see there's a throne. And you see this in some of the pictures, right, of that man who was born there in Cush, right, or Ethiopia, where it's like a covered canopy. I think this picture brings it down a little bit right here, right? You can't see the fullness of the covered canopy, right? The covered canopy. And that's the sense of it right there. But when it comes up again, if I see it, I'll bring it out because it really brings out. You see what it says as covered, right? As covered, right? The throne as canopied. Right, so it's not just a seat, it's not just a chair, though a throne is a chair, but it's like it's covered over. Even the personal insignia right there, you can see it's covered over. It's almost like a sukkah, right? It's almost like a sukkah. If I can get to this picture right here, I would bring it out right here. Let me see if it comes up right there. Okay, I'll keep an eye on that and I'll show it to you when it comes around in the spindle, right? When it comes around in the spindle. Right. Okay. I could do this right here. Right. Let's see. Show some of my screens right here. Okay. Let's see. Safari. Okay. Let's go over. Let me open that right there. Okay. Let me go over here just to give you a glimpse of it. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. Where's the pics? Today's pics. All right, where's the downloads right there? Okay, do we have the downloads? Okay, no, that's WhatsApp. Give me one moment, people. Right, people. Right, okay, where are we? Okay, here we go. This is what we mean by the key say. To give a demonstration of the key say. Right, a demonstration of the key say. Okay, the key say. Give me one moment. I know a lot of pictures to sort through, but here we go. This is that sense. You see the canopy right there? You see the canopy? I don't know if you can make it out well. The canopy right there, a canopy throne. You see right here in this picture right here. Let me go back to this one right here. You see the canopy, right? That's like a sukkah, but that's also the definition of the kisei. So most will say it's just a throne, like a chair. But that means they're not really studying it because kisei come from casa. Casa, not the Spanish casa, but casa mean like to cover, right? Like a covered over, right? The covered over throne. So it's a throne, but it's covered over. And this is what is very interesting. We look at Ethiopia and its majesty and that ancient root there. It's attention to detail that's particular. You know, like we ask this, that how will one know this unless one's lived this and one's be this? That attention to detail, right? That attention to detail. Let me show one's over here. Okay, here's another good example of it. And you probably see the other pics as well, that covered over. This is like the alga. The alga is like the bed, the throne bed right there, the alga, right? And then you see that covering right there. That's what we wanted to show with the key say. And okay, this one is good. This one is it right here. All right, you see the king on the throne, the anointed king on the throne, and that covered throne. So you see the covered throne right there, right? Okay, let's bring this out right here, the covered throne. And then let's go right here. So we have the word kisei, right? Because here it says nakon, right, correct, established. Nakon kisaka, kisacha, the eyes kisei, kisai, the throne, the seat, the stool, the seat of honor, right? The seat of royal dignity, authority, power, right? And properly, it means covered over. That is a throne as canopied, having a canopy, having a covering, right? A covering over it, right? And this comes from the word casa, the verb. Casa means to cover, to conceal, to hide, right? A covering for protection, right? Being covered over, being spread over, right? Here we go right here, to be filled up, cover. You see the root down there. So here, just to bring up that sense of the kisei, right? The kisei, right? So one can see that not only are we just saying, oh, well, Ethiopia or this or that. No, but look at the detail. When we study the detail, you can see the detail. So we see that covered over throne. I was wondering, like, why we see the throne like that. And look at the covering here. You see the covering right there on top right there, the king and the queen, right? Psalm 45, right? Psalm 45, anointed King of Kings, right? And Queen of Queens right there, right? And you see the covering right there. Look at the cover. You see the cover, you say, oh, that's just tradition. Yes, right? But how deep is the root of that tradition right there? We can see it quite clear. Here, Hebraic. I know we have some other pictures right here, but that was just a collection of the pictures we had in that sense right there, the kisei. That's one right now, just to keep it on that one right there, right? So here, let's continue right here. So here it's saying, nakon the kisaka. Nakon, for the words we're bringing out right here in the Hebrew, kisaka me'az. Here it says, nakon, established, kisaka, the eyes male throne, may from Az. May Az. The KJV translated as established of old. But the word Az in Hebrew is like to say then. Like Az Yabo, like then he went. And he was at that time, then Az Yabo, Az Raiti, then I saw, in that sense, then. But here it says may Az, at that time. Notice it says here temporal expressions, right? It's a temporal expression, right? So it says nakona kisaka me Az, right? Establish the eyes male throne from then, may olam, from then, from the eternity, from time out of mind. This part of the verse right here, may olam, ata. Ata is the pronoun, right? The second person pronoun speaking to a male, right? So speaking directly to Yahweh here. Nakona kisaka me'az. May olam, ata, the I. Whenever the pronoun is brought out, it has a Hebraic inference of like emphasis, right? It emphasizes, like saying, you see the ISV has you. Well, they say you are the king. It doesn't say the king there, but it says that you are from. The I is from time out of mind, from eternity, so to say, right? So what do we have here? His kingship. This is still speaking of the kingship, right? His kingship goes so-called back, or goes back to then, and goes back from eternity. Goes back to then, from eternity, the I, and none other, right? To the beginning of time, nay, to before the beginning of time. Your throne goes back to then, right? From eternity, you are, you be. He who be, who he be from eternity. He who be before time. Gimel, the Gimel verse, the third verse here. Abaga, Aleph Beit Gimel, here. The floods have lifted up, O Yahweh. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their waves. Here. Hebrew. Nasu neharot Yahuwah, Nasu neharot kolam, Yesua neharot dakyam. Nasu, they have Nasat. They have Nasat, Nasa. But here we have Nasu. Nasu is like they, the U part, Nasu. They have lifted up. Who's the they right here? Neharot. What's a Neharot? The Neharot comes from the singular Nahar. Nahar is a stream, a river, implied like a flood, right? In the translation, a stream, a river, right? They say even the Nile. Some even speculate that the term Nile comes from some permutation of the Hebrew Nahar. Nahar. In some languages, the R and the L interchange. So we have Nahar, and then we can have Nahal, Nahal. But here, speaking of the flood, right? The floods, right? So they have lifted up Nasu, Neharot, Yahweh, he who be. Nasu, they have lifted up. Neharot, the floods have lifted up. Kolam, right? Their Kol means voice, Kol means sound, Kol means noise. When we say Kolam, the am is a suffix behind the noun here that makes it they, the am. So Kol plus am, Kolam, means their voice, their sound, right? Their voice, their sound. Nasu neharot Yahuwah, Nasu neharot Kolam. Yesu, they will lift up, right? They will lift up, right? They will lift up Neharot Dakyam. Now, here's a interesting Yesu, Neharot Dakyam. Right? So they will lift up, right? The floods lift up and they will lift up, right? Dakyam. Dakyam come from Doki. Doki, right, means crushing. Doki means dashing, splashing, restless sea. That song by St. Garnet So. Splashing, dashing, doki. And here in the plural of their doki, their crashing, is dokiyam, right? Crushing, dashing, splashing, the poundings of the wave, right? From the root word daka. Daka means to crush, the verb to crush, to be broken, like broken in heart in that sense, to be broken, to be crushed, right? To collapse, right? In the sense of the verb, it can mean to collapse physically, like somebody has a collapse. They're worn out physically. They break down, boom, right? Or they worn out mentally. They break down, right? So in this context, it's speaking about the waters, right? Yesu neharota dakyam. The rivers, the floods, the rivers, as tidal wave inundates the surrounding country, the heathen them, right? The heathen powers, right? The heathen and sheathen powers, the Goyim, the Gentiles, the nations, right? Had overrun Yisrael. Look at how the Gentiles in this time of the Gentiles, look how they overran, right? The places where the Beta Israel was scattered, even in Africa and other places, the whole world really. But look what they did with Africa, for example, how they overran. Look how they invaded, right, with the Israelites of Ethiopia and the tribe of Judah. That's like the floods, right? So the floods also metaphorically, as water sometimes can be metaphorically used for troubles, especially when it's overwhelming, right? They flood in. So here the Nahar, the Naharot, the floods and the rivers are referring, right, in the Hebrew metaphoric sense, to the heathen powers that want to wash the Beta Yisrael away, right? But they're not able to do it, right? May Yah cause them to fail, right? They fail, cramp, cripple, and paralyze every weak heart conception, O Yahweh, Hashem Yeshua, wipe it out of creation. Here, the Dalet verse, the fourth verse right here. Yahweh on high, mightier than the noise of many waters. Now I'm thinking about all these floods going on nowadays, But if you're on higher ground, if you're on higher ground, you see those waters below, but you're like, well, I'm so happy I'm now on that lower ground right there. So think about it. So with the heathen powers represented by the waters, and we see it throughout the scripture elsewhere, the waters rushing in, the heathen powers seeking to overrun the Beta Israel, overrun the tribe of Judah, overrun I. We come here to the Dalet verse, to the fourth verse that says that Yahweh on high, he is higher than the waters. That you can't touch this. Their waters don't even come up to his footstool, right? Yahweh on high, mightier than the noise of many waters. They make that noise, though, when the anointed, right, the elect of God, right, so you Haile Selassie spoke and pleaded for the justice on behalf, right, of the Beta Israel and the Ethiopian people and the small people, the little people of the world. What did the fascists, the Romanists, the Satanists do? They laughed. They made a bunch of noise, right? What does the word say? Yahweh on high, mightier than the noise of many waters. Yea, then the mighty waves of the sea. Here, Hebraically. Mikolota mayim rabim, adir, right? Adir, here. Adir, let me look at this right here. Okay, Adarim, Mishibrei Yam. See here, the HGPD. Sometimes when you have those like 1 and 2 there, it's a way of looking at the Greek of the Septuagint and trying to kind of reconcile it with the Masoretic. But here at the top, the HB is like more of the pure Masoretic that we have written before us. Mi kolot, from the voices, right? The kolot. Me from kolot. Mi kolot mayim, from the voices of the waters, the noise of the waters. Rabim, many. Adirima mi shibrei yam, adira ba marom, Yahweh. Ba marom, on high, on the marom, on the high, right? Yahweh is he who he be. This is interesting because the whole word order is very much different here than the KJV. Above, see, the Hebrew would be above the voices of many waters. Mik olot mayim rabim. The mighty, Adarim, the mighty, Mishibrei, breakers of Yam, breakers of the sea. Adarima Mishibrei Yam, the mighty breakers of the sea. Adir, right, mighty. Adir, Bamarom, on high, Yahweh is he who he be. So the whole word order is different than the KJV. The KJV reverses the word order and says, Yahweh on high, mightier than the noise of many waters, the mighty waves of the sea. And then he put the italicized stuff right there. But the proper word order of this is Mikolota Mayima Rabim, above the voices of many waters. Adrima Mishibrei Yam, the mighty breakers. Mishibrei, the breakers of Yam, the breakers of the Yam. The sea is the Yam, the breakers of the Yam. And then the final portion of this verse, the final phrase of the verse says, Adir Bamarom Yahweh. Adir. So here we have the word Adir. Let's touch on the word Adir. What is Adir? Right? Great, majestic. This word is used of waters of sea, can be used of tree, majestic tree, Adir, can be used of kings, can be Adir, nations can be Adir, right? Or God might be referred to as Adir, right? A great one, Adir, a majestic one, Adir, is used of nobles and chieftains and servants, right here. But coming from the roots, right, it means wide or large in a figurative sense, like powerful, right? From the root word Adar. What is Adar? Adar as a verb means to be great, to be majestic, the sense like to be wide, to be noble, right? To expand. The root aspect of it is to expand, to be great, the sense of magnificence, right? Magnificent. So it uses this word here right? It says, notice, they give a false translation right there. Chan. I mean, the mighty breakers, the majestic breakers, right? The wide breakers, the large breakers, the powerful breakers, right? The powerful, right, is mightier. He is a deer, right? He is mighty, right? He is mighty. There's not really that comparison right there. It just says that he is mighty, all right, on high. Mighty on high is Yahuwah, right? It's saying from the voices, from the noises of the many waters, Mayim Rabin, right? The majestic altogether in a plural sense, Mishibarei. What it says? Man, they really translate this funny right here. That's not the word for waves. The word Mishbar is the word breaker. Mishibarei is breakers of. Mishibarei Yam is the breakers of the Yam. And the word Yam is a sea. Mishibarei Yam. Because Mishibarei comes from the verb shabar. Shabar mean he broke or to break in pieces. Right? So Mishibarei Yam. What do we have here? The voices, right? The noise. Some interpret the noise, right, of many waters. Others look at the voices of the many waters in a reference to the thunderings, right? The thunderings that are above the waters and the thunderings that go with the storm, right? Is mighty, is adir. The Hebrew here includes the idea of glory as well as power. So when we see this word adir, it has a sense of glory as well as power, right? Glory as well as power. Here, to the Hay verse, right? The fullness, fulfillment verse right here. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Yahweh, forever, right? In the Hebrew, this is directly to the length of days, to length of days. So sometimes the translator plays, has played fast and loose with some things. It's great poetry in the English language. Yeah, the KJV, it's great poetry. But sometimes the Hebrew accuracy is not quite in some of these areas when we really study, right? But I still say that it's a good point of reference because of these other versions. Look at all these other translations. Besides the Tanakh, the Hebrew, right? The Tanakh, Masoretic, and besides the KJV, which other ones has the Strong's words? Which other translations use the Strong's words? Because some of them are not just translations, they're like almost like interpolations. And the KJV is guilty of that, but not to the extent that these other ones, they sometimes wild out. But here for the Hay verse, Edoteka, Ne'emnua me'oda, Le'beitika, Nawa Kodesh, Yahweh, Le'orek Yamin. Here, the fullness verse right here. Edoteka, Edot is testimonies from Eda. What is Eda? It's a testimony, it's a witness, right? Here it says always plural, right? And always of laws as divine testimonies, right? Edoteka, the eye's testimonies, the eye male testimonies. Edoteka, ne'emnu. Since it's plural there, ne'emnu is plural to say sure or to say faithful. They are aman, ne'emnu. They are faithful, they are firm, they confirm. Ne'emnu, right? Here bringing down the sense, they build up, they support, they foster, right? They are firm, they're faithful, they're trust and truth worthy, right? To be lived, right? They are true and certain. So here it's saying edoteka ne'emnu me'od. Me'od is the word for like very, like exceeding, right? Exceeding much. In the Shema, when it says Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad, and you read the full of the Shema, I'm reading the full of the Shema, and it says, we shall love Yahweh Eloheinu, like with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our might, in that sense. When you read it in the Hebrew, it says, me'odeka, me'odeka. The word me'od is like to say very. Like on that day, the sixth day, when Yahweh looked upon the creation according to Bereshit, Genesis 1, he saw all that he had created, all that he had did, and he said that it was tov me'od. It was tov me'od, me'od. It was very good. But when Yahweh says that we are to love him with all of our heart, right, with all of our soul, and then he says also me'odeka. Me'odeka actually means with our muchness, with our enoughness. Right? It's an interesting sense there. Edoteka ne'emnua me'od. Thy testimonies, ne'emnu, ne'aman, faithful, ne'emnu me'od. Le beiteka, for the eye's house, the eye's bait. Nawa, kodesh. Nava, kodesh. Kodesh, set apart, apartness, becometh nawa, from na, right? Na, the root verb, to be comely, to be beautiful. Nawa, it becomely, is beautiful, it's befitting, it befits set apartness. Nawa, kodesh, or in modern Hebrew, levetecha, nava kodesh, levetecha, nava kodesh. Le beitika nawa kodesh. Holiness, set apartness becometh thy bait, thy bayit, thine house, bayit. Bayit, bait, right? Contracted bait, right? Expanded, more fully enunciated, bayit. Bayit, bait. Same word, just different speaker, right? House, dwelling, habitation, right? Basically the word for house, right? It can be used in a wide variety, even in the sense of family. But here, holiness, set apartness, becometh thine house, Yahweh, O he who be, who he be, le orek, Yamim, for orek. Le orek. What is orek? Orek means length, right? Like a physical length. It also means length of time. It also has a sense of orek, forbearance, right? Self-restraint, of patience. One of the attributes of Yahweh is that he is long-suffering. In the Hebrew, right? Orek apayim. Orek apayim. Literally, it's long nose. But we know that, he who be in spirit and truth is not really knows, but it's that he has length, right? Time, right? Forbearance, restraint. Like take a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath in that sense. He is long suffering, right? From arak, to be long, to prolong, to make long, to grow long, right? In other words, he's long suffering. Even though apayim means nostrils, right? Apayim, right? So here at the end, it's not forever in the sense of ad olam or li olam, or, not in that sense of ha olam. It's actually li orek, for length, yamim, for length of days. So here, fifth and final verse of today's daily psalm is more Sadai Gimel. Edoteka ne'emnu me'od. Lebeiteka nawa kodesh. Yahweh. Le'oreka yamin. Thy testimonies are very sure, very faithful, very truthful and trustworthy. Holiness, set apartness, becometh, beautifies, beiteka. Lebeiteka nawa kodesh. Yahweh, O he who be, who he be. Le orek, for length, yamin, for length of days. Edoteka, the eyes, eda, or edot, right? It says always plural. The singular is eda, but we find in the scriptures as edot, or edut, right? Speaking about we as ones and ones being the edut, right? The witnesses, the testifiers, the princes. More on this can be found in Psalm 19, right? Psalm 19, round about the 7th to 8th verse, where it speaks about the testimonies, right? Before we just seal up right here, since it's the last verse to give it a fullness here, we have verse Psalm 19. In the KJV Bible, it'll be verse 7. In the Hebrew, it'll be verse 8, where it says, the law of Yahweh is perfect, restoring the soul. The testimony of Yahweh is sure, making wise the simple. Torata Yahweh Temimah, Mi Shivata Nefesh. Restoring Mishibata Nafesh, restoring the Nafesh, the psyche, the soul. He restores my soul. Torata Yahuwah Temima. Temima. Right? Is perfect. It's Tamim. Perfect. Mishibat. Restoring Nafesh, the soul. Right? Edot Yahuwah. Edot, right? The testimonies of he who be of Yahuwah. Ne'emana. Edot Yahuwah. Ne'emana, to say is faithful, is sure, is truthful, is trustworthy. Machkimat, causing, making wise, machkimat, from chokmah, wisdom, machkimat, making wise, peti, making wise the simple, or making the open-minded people wiser. So what is a edot, right? It's a regulation, right, that attests to the will of Yahweh Eloheinu. So Elohim's kingdom is governed by moral laws, or as the called chosen faithful Rastafari, the first proclaimers proclaim, moral theocracy that are very, what? That are very sure, right? That are anew me'od, very sure, firmly established and unchangeable like himself. The same today, right? Yesterday and forever. To the Hebrew, right? The concept of Yahweh Eloheinu was never only of might. We have to really emphasize this, right? To the Hebrew, even though Elohim and El related to Chayil, and Ha'el related to Chayil, has to do with power, right? Ayele has to do with power. Chayile has to do with power. But to the Hebrew, the concept of Eloheinu, Elohim, Elohim, was now only, we didn't say it wasn't about power, we said it was never only of power. Never only of power, but always associated with the idea of Kodesh and Kedusha. Kodesh and Kedusha, of the holy, the set apart, of apartness, and set apartness, or we say holiness or islandness. Here, just to bring out this, the Kodesh, the association of Kodesh, apartness, called holiness, sacredness, actively separateness, as you can see right there, separateness, right? Sanctity, to be set apart, set apartness, right? Beitika, the eye's house. This can refer to the Heikal, to the temple. This can refer to Zion, to Zion, or as a whole to the temple, to Zion, right? But this also in the Brit Chadasha, it refers to know ye not that your bodies are the temple of Yahweh Eloheinu, if his spirit, the Ruach HaKadosh, dwells in thee and in we. Under Yahweh Elohim's rule, it will no more be desecrated, right? Under Yahweh Elohim's rule, and his rule, Bashem Yeshua. Here, Chabarim.
Psalm 93. The Lord reigneth, he is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. Thy throne is established of old, thou art from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Lord, the floods have lifted up their voice, the floods lift up their wave. The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Lord, forever, forever, forever.
מזמור צ"ג. אדוני מלאך גאות לבש, לבש אדוני עוז התעזר, אף תיכון תבל בל תימות. נכון כסאך מאז, מעולם אתה. נשאו נהרות אדוני, נשאו נהרות קולם, יישאו נהרות דוחיים. מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משברי ים, אדיר במרום אדוני. עדותיך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נאווה קודש, אדוני לאורך ימים.
Psalm 93. The Lord reigneth, he is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is established, that it cannot be moved. Thy throne is established of old, thou art from everlasting. The floods have lifted up, O Lord, the floods have lifted up their voice, the floods lift up their waves. The Lord on high is mightier than the noise of many waters, yea, than the mighty waves of the sea. Thy testimonies are very sure. Holiness becometh thine house, O Lord, forever, forever, forever,
מזמור צ"ג. אדוני מלאך גאות לבש, לבש אדוני עוז התעזר, אף תיכון תבל בל תימות. נכון כסאך מאז, מעולם אתה. נשאו נהרות אדוני, נשאו נהרות קולם, יישאו נהרות דוחיים. מקולות מים רבים, אדירים משברי ים, אדיר במרום אדוני. עדותיך נאמנו מאוד, לביתך נאווה קודש, אדוני לאורך ימים.
Laila Tov, Laila Tov. Good night. Have a good rise. Yes, moving forward to day six, fulfilling here in the season. Shalom, Chaverim. Shalom. Yeshua Shalom. Chag HaSukkot Sameach. B'Shem Yeshua HaMoshiach. Shalom, Chaverim.